Tick loud in the chamber. Pressure gets colder. Resla walks in. Truth riding his shoulder. Here for the shift, tear the mask on pretenders. Beat drop. He's a fucking monster. Cuts through the noise, pulls the lies in the daylight. Every move calculated, every word's a fist fight. Building new code, stacking bricks for the future. Turning midlife to gold, cut the chains like a suture. Keeps time as a weapon, each tick is a death note. Lights up the skyline, watch the whole city take note. Not chasing the fame, here to freeze what's molten. Break open the silence, keep the truth ice-coated. No clock to punch in, he's the one who dictates. Every second's a fuse, watch the skyline detonate. Eyes closed, living from the sideline. No talking, I'ma do it, bitch, it's my time. Everything swerving, driving off of my tie. But I'm cool as can be, look at my eyes. See some pictures you can put up on your timeline. More vivid than the NYC skyline. Some crazy shit you can't imagine, only I find. You just coming for a trip inside my mind. The street lights hum when the night's in my grip. Voices fade out, but the truth never slips. Shadows on the wall dance slow, then divide. I follow where they lead with the calm in my stride. Breath like smoke, but the fire stays quiet. Dreams turn sharp when the silence goes violent. You see a moment, I'm already past it. My mind's a museum and you can't outlast it.
Yo, what's good, y'all? What is good? Welcome to the stream. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's really been outdated. There's so many things I need to work on because your boy has not been doing content creation for a while. But I'm happy for those who actually showed up right now. So right now. So I do appreciate that. For those who have actually been in here, you just heard a little bit of some new stuff that I'm playing around with. You got this is the first time y'all have actually heard the full lyrics stuff that I've been talking about for so long. But anyway, I happy that you guys have actually been here. I don't know. I came in a little bit late and I started looking at some things going on in social media. I noticed that people not a lot really live right now. I'm surprised. Normally, I thought the weekend was when people, especially in these panel areas, are the ones that try to take advantage of it, try to be first to get everybody. So I didn't necessarily care, but I thought it was something I was going to see. And surprisingly, it's a motherfucking ghost town. Surprisingly. But anyway, we do what we're going to do regardless, because we're not really worried about them. I just thought it was very interesting. As I said, I wonder who's on to see what they're doing. But it is what it is. Anyway, I am yours truly, your guy, Resla. And I want to go through some things that I've been seeing because I haven't done anything really for today. So I want to take a look at some things that I'm seeing on social media, some things that I know I've been seeing in my feed. So I pulled a couple of things. But as you haven't noticed what the actual title of the stream is, it's very, 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 very simple. I am Resla. And we will get into that for exactly what it is. Now, in the meantime, I do kind of want to go through some things that are actually going on here in my feed. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because I know I've been hearing a lot of different stuff. I haven't gone through any of these videos. I'm going to say a new thing for myself. If I do videos or if I react to something, you and I are most likely seeing it at the same time. I see titles or I see things going up. I don't even know who these people are. And I try to reference them at the same time because I think that you and I should get the same info at the same time, get the same perspectives at the same time, and challenge the things that we hear. And also, if we hear things incorrectly, I think it's very important. So with that being said, let me do me a favor real quick. I'm gonna move this over, move myself over. Do I want to do this through? No, I'm gonna do this through the current stream that I'm on. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move that over. All right, so here we go. So we got one right here. So if anyone has known this teacher, shoot, I forgot his name already, but he's a very prominent teacher. I don't want to disrespect him. So let me get this real quick. I remember his name. I just don't remember what it was. I know he did a lot of different series with his college students. He talks to very controversial kind of stuff, and he gets his students to really work on it. I'm gonna have to learn his name. Shit, it's been a while, but I know he really has a lot of good thought. I almost wish I had him as an actual professor, just to be honest with you, because he's really, really good at his thought provoking conversations. So if you guys know, by the way, what his name is, be sure to actually put that in the chat so that everybody else can also know who the hell he is as well. But the most recent thing that I clicked on this particular link for is because apparently he's challenging people's viewpoints based on the fact of what happened with Charlie Kirk and getting, of course, a lot of people's perspectives on it. I don't know where it was. It says class 9/11. I don't know what that is about. Kind of, he's done some fun. It says who was Charlie Kirk. All right, let's just go through this and then we'll figure it out together, right?
So listen. So we're gonna do this class. What happens next? And I really, it's another fact-finding class of sorts. Just, I'm absolutely curious about what you all are thinking about some things. Okay, so can you?
Wait, I'm gonna pause real quick. I'm already interrupting my own video, but I want to do something that's very, very important to me right now because I'm seeing people walk into the building, and I just want to say, I want to give a little bit of respect for those guys who showed up early. So I want to say what's up to the winch who walked into the building. Say, first of all, already here early when nobody was talking, so I appreciate you, Mama, up in the building. So I'm just here busy typing. So I do appreciate you being here in the building. Miss Raven walks up in the building and says, "What's up? What's up? What's good? What's good?" Listen, Rude Mud. I'm surprised. Rude Mud Crab is in the building because normally you keep changing your name. You and Locksmith Jeremy keep changing your name. You know we change your name too, so I got to figure out sometime what you guys are doing. And of course, we got Cousin Lawrence in the building. I appreciate you. Said, "Hi, I'm Ellie." Hey Ellie, what's going on? Sorry, not Ellie. Eli. I just realized what you're doing, what you just did right there. There's a chick that I was talking to earlier this week whose name was Ellie. Eli, what's good, Eli? What's going on, man? What's going on? And of course, B Baller, yeah, boy, yeah. So I appreciate you walking up in the building. Just wanted to make sure I just give you guys a little bit of recognition because we're gonna have people who are not gonna talk who also going to be our lurkers. But here's what we're gonna do: we're going to let the lurkers get a little bit more acclimated, and then if they feel like it's an inviting community enough to them to speak, because we know some of them claim that they're busy, they're at the club, they're out in the street, they're rocking the baby, they're breastfeeding, they're getting clap cheeked while watching Resla at the same time while they're getting their cheeks clapped. I don't know why you ladies do that, but anyway, but we're gonna let them all do that because you know why? If they get a little bit of this edutainment, let them get it. Crazy Mama also in the business. Look, she's one of the people that's always busy. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm getting my cheeks clapped, but I'm listening, Resla. I'm listening nonetheless. I know all the time. Every time. KM is a huge proponent of that. So we already know that. You're always listening, regardless of what's happening in the back. Whatever's happening in the background, we know you're always paying attention. So it's all good. Stephen Hall in the building as well. Appreciate you, my guy. And I appreciate everybody here in the chat. Let's find out what's going to be talked about tonight.
Can you go to the next slide? So today is the anniversary of 9/11. You know, we had Social 19 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, September 11th. And it was really...
I'm sorry, quick question. Since I didn't even know he did this right after. Damn. Actually, now that I think about it, Charlie was killed on the 10th. And 9/11 happened right afterwards. How many of you, as Americans, we don't have all Americans who watch the platform, but as Americans, how many of you, this is just a question to yourself, hopefully you'll be a little bit honest in speaking about it, but how many of you actually still, 9/11 was 2001? How many of you actually still celebrate 9/11? Not celebrate, but you still commemorate 9/11. How many of you guys who are Americans actually still commemorate not, I don't even know if I'm using the right word because I don't want to say celebrate, but how many of you still do remembrance of 9/11 when it happens? I'm just wondering because the human memory is just so short. We remember when shit happens, but we don't remember how we feel about it. The same way how we experience injuries. We get broken bones. We get broken bones. We get heartaches. We go through trauma. We have, friends, family, that die. Even though we do remembrance of it, we don't really say that we remember how we felt during that time. As someone who was here in New York, I remember that was probably one of the first times that my phone kept ringing off the hook on a continuous basis, strictly because I lived in New York City. Not that, not I was so young, not that I was anywhere to be nowhere near that building. I was not working, or no, I'm not saying not working, but I was not anywhere in my youth to be a prominent figure, to be working anywhere at the towers. And yet my phone was off the hook just strictly because I lived in the city. So I just wonder how many people still remember, and most of all, not just remember the day that it happened, not remember when they saw it on TV, not remember, but remember how they felt during that time. Because even like I say, as someone who was there in the city when it happened, I was not far along. I remember how people couldn't really get home. Trains were stuck. I remember waiting for my mom to come home because even she couldn't go nowhere. People were trying to bum cab rides. Keep in mind, I say cab rides, is Uber and Lyft was not available at those moments. I think a lot of people over time. Oh, thank you. Commemorate. Thank you. I was wondering. I've been drinking for a little bit, so I got in, and of course I poured me a new one. So I'm a keep the party going. So I just want to make sure the commemorate was the right word because it's not a word that I use very often. But since this whole Charlie Kirk thing's been happening, celebrate was the word that keeps popping up in the internet spaces, and I know because I keep hearing it a lot. I didn't want my mind to be indoctrinated, but that was the first word that popped up, and I'm like, that's not the word. That's not the word. What's the word I can use? And commemorate was the next one that came up. Anyway, you're just walking through my mind for a moment, and I'm wondering. Right, I can understand that, Stephen. That you were pissed. You were pissed off when it happens. I get that 1,000%. I mean, I'm here in New York. I was pissed off when it happened. You know what I mean? But the question is, how many of us can remember, not that it happened because it's just a matter of history. I mean, not for nothing. I wasn't around during the time of World War I and World War II, but I can remember that it happened because I had to learn about it. But how many of you can actually say you can still remember how you felt? Because I've gone through pain, heartache, actual stuff like that, and I can't tell you that I can remember how I felt. But somehow when we say we give him remembrance on particular issues, people turn around and say, I remember how I still felt. And I challenge that. I challenge that. It has nothing to do with the actual conversation that we're about to get into. But since he mentioned 9/11, I thought it was very something that I could jump into real quick because I find human beings very interesting and how we feel at the moment and what we fight for, or rather what we want to contest against, is not really the same thing as how we remember it in the future, It's like, is the fight, it is the way that you feel, whether the fight or whether your understanding is still the same now that you no longer feel the same way you did at the moment. That's what's in my mind. What are you guys saying on that? I know I'm opening up some doors real early. Hey, let me just do this so we can be on point. I'm doing this real early with you guys. I'm getting you guys to think. This is the way. You just coming. Listen, you heard my even intro. You just coming for a trip inside my mind. This is just the way how I think. If I hear something really crazy that just pops up real quick, my mind starts spiraling. You said you think, okay, great. So KM says she thinks about it, but I'm gonna go into it. You think about it, but there's a difference between how we think about it when it was happening versus how we think about it now. Can we say that we still have that same feeling, that same passion, that same experience that we had when it actually took place? Cousin Lawrence says, I remember I was at my brother's house. Ooh, at the time, and my ex-wife. He said, ex-wife, the ex-wife, ex-wife. The ex-wife called me to let me know about it. Wait, this is the ex-wife. I don't know how it turned out. Did she call you to say, do you know that the towers fall? Or just called you to say, nigga, I was hoping that you was in the towers. Okay, you ain't got to answer that, Cousin Lawrence. You ain't got to answer that. Just it is what it is. You can keep that to yourself. I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. Dude, you ain't got to answer it though. You ain't got to answer it. I'm just wondering. That's the reason why they call it. Anyway, commemorate was the right word. Thank you for clearing that up for me. What's going on? You was at work when it took place. Okay, all right. I know exactly how I felt when I was watching it. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. You know exactly how you felt. I don't know how you felt, but you know how you felt, and that's what's important. All right, you were pissed when it happened. A lot of people were. A lot of people still are, to be honest with you. Yes, I remember it was a little scared. Cool. Yeah, I can imagine that for a lot of people because a lot of people, this is the first time within our lifetime that we ever had. I'm lying when I say that. It was the first time that we had ever heard within our lifetime that we were hit we were hit foreignly. We weren't hit domestically. It was the first time, at least for me. It was the first time that I ever heard that we got hit. That we got hit foreign. We've already had people who did shootings or the Oklahoma City bomb or things shit like that. But it was the first time they ever heard like someone who was not even born or even whatever plotted and successfully hit an attack for us. So I'm just wondering. As Raven says, I remember the panic was in the second plane hit. Yeah, I can imagine. So I knew the airplanes were going to be shut down. Well, at least the airports. Yeah, airports were going to be shut down. And my worry because of the late husband worked. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can imagine that. You felt worried. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people did. I know a lot of people felt worried just for me being there. Uh, when it's something done that hurt American people, it makes me mad. Then I imagine you're mad every day. American people say that they're hurt every day. I get what you mean, though. I'm just saying, uh, you are not. Well, no, you are not Resla. No, you are not Clue Studio. Right? Sure, I don't still feel that way, but I do remember how I felt at the time. Okay. All right. Because I can say it was a long time ago. Let's be honest, we're in 2025. That was 2001. I can remember what I was doing. I can remember where I was at, but I cannot tell you I remember how I felt in that moment. That's just me. I cannot tell you. For me, period, like I can just tell you, like I said, I've been through injuries, I've been through pain, and I can say I remember the bullshit I did or the bullshit I went through, but I cannot tell you. I can say I was mad. I can tell you I was in pain, but I can't tell you that I remember how it felt. That's the point that I'm trying to say. I can remember. I can remember what I was thinking about and I was experiencing and the ordeals that I went through. But to say like, let's just say if you broke your leg, it's 10 years later. Can you say you remember how it felt, or you remember just how much in pain you were? That's the point I'm trying to get to. I think a lot of people remember how debilitating the experience was. I don't think they remember how excruciating the pain was. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Same crazy one. I could still feel the panic. Okay, all right. People that turn on the news with something slightly angry. Okay, all right, I got you. Just felt disbelief. You know what? I had that for a split. I want to say like 4 seconds. I was in disbelief, and then I was like, "No, this is happening." For like at least a solid 4 seconds, I'm like, "No, no, yes, like this is, and I started like, I was trying to reach out to, I was literally trying to reach out to people when they were reaching out to me. I was like, fuck, like you guys are blowing up my you're only blowing my phone up because I live in New York City, but I'm trying to reach out to people who's actually here in the city. Like, hey, are you good? Hey, did you see this shit? Like, it was wild. Uh, I was happy I had a cell phone to call my mom. Hey, cell phones were big in the time, expensive as fuck, but absolutely. Yeah, when you were watching the news, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, here's the funny part about it. Even after the day, the next morning still felt surreal. Like I was like, did we just dream all that shit? That really just happened? Like the next day still didn't feel real to me, to be honest with you. Tyler's first hit in 93. I remember that. I remember that. I was in junior high school. I remember that one. What we talking about? We just getting into it. I'm just started asking questions and just flowing to my mind. We don't have anything we're really talking about right now, but I do got some stuff I want to go through. Let's see. We all know about the government, right? I'm not even gonna get into that. I don't play around with conspiracies. I don't do conspiracy nights. That's not my thing. I'm too busy worried about reality to worry about conspiracies. I'm not gonna get into it because here's my thing. Unless you can absolutely, unequivocally, unabashedly prove it, it's all conjecture. So we work. I know we do opinions, but we have to work on we have to challenge the notion of what we find between fact and fiction. And I know when we turn around and say we can't even believe stats, even though stats can be highly are relegated to whatever the bias of those things are. If we can't trust anything, then we can't trust everything. And if we can't trust everything, we damn for sure cannot lean on conspiracies because we can't lean on the actual truth and the things that are sitting right in front of our face because we can't even believe the things that are sitting in front of our face are true. And we know this as human beings because we experience many fallacies. So we do the best that we can with what we got. But what we got doesn't mean it's true. This is why we are still in the age right now where we say it's my truth, not the truth. It is my understanding, not the understanding. So I get it. I get it. I just want to ask the question since it really hit my mind at the moment he said it. How dare you play me at 1.5? No, absolutely. Absolutely. Catch up. Catch up. Absolutely. You're good, Ruck. Don't you hear me talk fast, a mile a minute? God damn it. Appreciate you walking in the door, Ruck. Yeah, that's the mind of where I was at right now when I just asked that question. Has nothing to do with the actual conversation of what we're going into. So let's do that.
Really powerful experience. Sometimes people ask me what has been the most memorable Social 19 class, and I often reference that one. In that we had a couple people in class who had parents or relatives. One was a father, and one was a brother or a sister, who worked in the Twin Trade Towers in New York. And this was back before everybody had a cell phone, and people had flip phones and that kind of thing. But they didn't know if they're in the case of their father, and I think it was a brother who survived, and it was a really intense class, and it was down the hall, and yeah, really, really just profound because I knew that the world had shifted on that day.
Okay, I'm gonna say something, and this might piss off a couple of people. What's the thing that really pissed me off about 9/11? I've always heard it, but I've always equated it to like the 60s, the free love kind of thing. When 9/11 happened, it was my first real exposure to the human conditions of how many people are pussies. Let me elaborate. When I say pussies, right, I'm talking about the bleeding hearts who had no family, no friends, never served, who were doing support groups, talking about how traumatized they were. Those people pissed me off. I just wanted to put that out there. I'm just remembering it because there are people who actually, these people were putting out support groups and then luring in individuals who actually did serve at the time or who did know family members or they did have family co-workers who were like the firefighters in the building or the cops or whatever. And these guys are, so who'd you lose? Nobody. And there's people there that's like, I lost family. I lost friends. I was there a couple blocks away. I had to walk home 4 hours because there was no trains or anything. I had soot. And you fucking people, like, those people pissed me off. I just wanted to put it out there. I just thought I talked to you about everything else that's going on in my mind and how I bring forth the questions, but I had to put that out there as well. Because it wouldn't be authentically me if I didn't mention that some of these people really pissed me off. Because they exist. They were there. Like there were people who did that. That they were just straight up pussy. Was nowhere close. Nowhere close by. Motherfuckers who was not even in the 5 boroughs. Going into the city within the 5 boroughs to create support groups and crying and boo-hooing and blowing napkins and shit. And they had no family, no friends. They were no close by when the shit happened and crying their asses off. It pissed me off. And that might just be a failure of mine. You know, I didn't develop, care, mercy, and grace at that moment. I was really aggravated that they did it. Because as a person who lived in New York, I passed by the towers a lot. I had a family member who literally worked blocks away from the towers when it took place. So I had seen the towers a lot. A lot. And then to just go there and see it missing, I can tell you how, I was like, this is not right. And I still go by the new Freedom Tower now to see what it's like. And I think it's annoying the way, especially how the light, the sunlight glares off the fucking glass and it can, whatever. That's a new thing altogether. But how people didn't even have anything to do with it, nowhere was near it, didn't experience any loss from anywhere else, to sit there and just play to be victims pissed me off. Just gonna say that. That's my personal feeling of it. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just putting it out there because I like to share my personal thoughts on things. If you say, you know what, Resla, I don't agree with that, fuck you on that one. We can talk about that later. But I'm gonna lay it out there. That's how I thought about it at the moment.
And it was, and it did. Things were really, really powerful. And a lot of people were canceling class. But what I heard from my students really early on that morning, I heard from a bunch of people, and they're like, don't cancel class. We need to have a class. So that evening then, we had a gathering. My class really pushed it. We had a gathering, a vigil at the Peace Garden. And a lot of you probably don't know even what the Peace Garden is. It's that little park behind McAllister building next to the hub, between Henderson and McAllister next to the hub. And that is called the Peace Garden because we had a random shooting on campus in the I think around 97. And some young woman who was mentally ill brought a gun to campus and killed one student and wounded another student on the hub lawn. And so that's why that garden exists. And it's funny.
Quick pause. Miss Raven, when you said, can you imagine if TikTok existed then? it would have been insane because of assholes like them. Assholes like who specifically? Who exactly? Assholes like the actual guys who ran the planes and the towers, assholes who are trying to film their own deaths, because we see people that's they're like, yeah, this guy over here, he want to hit me in the face. He want to hit me in the face. I got hit in the face. I got hit in the face. The people who are videoing their own death. Like, who exactly do you mean? The guy who says it's too hot in here, it's too jet fuel, and they would have jumped out the window TikToking on the way down. Like, I know that sounds rather brutal, but people who are doing dumb shit all the time on their phone. So I'm trying to figure out, who exactly do you mean? Is it the victims that were there? Is it the victims that just like to videotape everything? Is it the I'm trying to figure out like who exactly do you mean? That's all.
How these stories are there, and we don't. They're there in the memories of people like myself who've been around, but other folks don't know. But that's what that is when you go into that garden. And so we had a gathering that night of September 11th in the Peace Garden. And then students, it was the only thing that really happened on campus. Everything was just completely shut down. But we did that, and lots of students from many, many different parts of campus came, and we did a candlelight visual. And it was good. It was important, and it's just important in these times. And then yesterday, we had the killing of Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk has spoken in this room a couple of times, and he is for those who don't know, he started university when he was 18, like many of you, most of you. And, he really wanted to be involved and be active. And when he got to the university, and I met Charlie Kirk when he was here the first time, he decided that he started taking classes, and he sat in on some of these big lecture classes, and, where you take notes. They put PowerPoint slides up, and, you write notes down, and then a few weeks later you take an exam, and you see if you can memorize everything that was on those PowerPoint slides. And then as soon as you take the exam, you forget it all because it doesn't matter to your life, and it's irrelevant. And he started doing that, and he said, this is not for me. I actually want to do something. I want to be active. I want to be involved. I want to get people like me really active in changing the world. And so he dropped out, and he had the courage to drop out, right? Which, a lot of folks probably get to that same place, but they don't do that. But he did, and he's quite talented.
Wait. Because I've heard at least a couple of people talking about, says that Charlie Kirk went to college, but then he dropped out of college. But I don't remember them saying that I'm sorry. Did he say which college he was at when he met Charlie Kirk? I missed that part. Because I don't think I recall anyone saying that Charlie Kirk went to Penn State. Not have a problem with Penn State. I have certificates from Penn State. I know, at least from what I heard, Charlie Kirk did not finish. But I also agree with the fact that people can make a difference. They don't necessarily need to be in school to do so. So yeah, I was just wondering if he said where he was when he met Charlie, because I think I missed that part.
Did from a really young age. He was, quite a talented, speaker, and developed a kind of a sense of confidence, and chose his ideas that were important to him. We all have certain, we don't all. A lot of us are just kind of floating through the world, and we haven't really found ourselves yet. But he had certain ideas that were important, and then over the years, those ideas, shifted in different directions. But I listened to him a lot, and you can, one thing I want to say that's very important, we have, I don't know, like 1,200 hours of video up from Social 119. And in 1,200 hours, if you scroll through 1,200 hours of video, you can find something that you can find a lot of things that you like, and you can find a lot of things that you don't like. And then you can, form your opinion, whichever way you want to go. Like, I like this guy, or I like this class, or this is a good class, this is valuable, etc. Or I don't. And this is stupid, and this guy's a knucklehead, or he's bad for.
I get that he's doing explaining. This is just me. Normally, this is just me, so I'm just going to do it. Hopefully that you guys are just as good as I am. But I'm going to bring it up just a tad. We're going to go to 1.25.
Young people, or whatever the case is, and Social 119 is really important, and more students should take it, or Social 119 should be shut down. You can scroll through those 1,000+ hours of video and find whatever you want to find to make your point, right? Well, the same with somebody like him. Same with anybody like that. I would listen to him often and be like, listen to him debating someone. I'd be like, okay, that's a good point. That's a cool point. Okay, that's good. Okay, I don't like that. That's like, yeah. Oh, that's cool. No, that's not cool. I don't like that. And that's how life is. And that's how life should be. And if you're really engaged, that's how it should be. You can't, if you listen to someone or find somebody out there in the world who you agree with on everything, then you probably can assume that you have some degree of schizophrenia or psychosis, because you're listening to yourself. Because there's nobody anywhere that you agree with 100% of the time. That's the nature of it, right?
Absolutely.
So, people with me, sometimes they take a little tiny clip out of 8 seconds, and they're like, oh, this guy is a lunatic, right? And I'm like, well, you didn't get the 8 seconds before, and you didn't get the 8 seconds after. You got that 8 seconds. Well, that happens a lot, and I'm watching that now on, Reddit and on Twitter and on different things, So I want to caution you all, caution everybody to be careful about doing this to anyone, okay? In any case, he kind of essentially is assassinated for his ideas.
So I love the fact that even he says it, and there are plenty of people who do, but I have literally done at least one, if not two streams where I've used literally the word either assassinated or executed. And I've had people tell me that didn't happen. Was he killed? Obviously, because he died. Was he murdered? They said no. I said, was he assassinated? They said no. I said, he was executed? They said no. I was like, he got hit from a bolt action rifle from a scope. Do you really dislike someone that much that you would even deny the fashion, the way, the experience, and how that person was taken off the chessboard? Are we serious? I'm happy you said delusional, because when I was hearing that person, I was like, it's delusional for you to just reword, reinvent, rewrite the fashion how this person was taken out. Even this is not the conversation is not whether you like, and this is the problem that I have when I talk to people. The conversation that I have with people is not about whether you like somebody or not. Because here's the truth of the matter. I don't care. I don't care. If I'm having a conversation with you and you don't agree with my takes, you know what I'm not thinking about? No, I need you to agree with me because I need you to like me. Whether you agree with me or whether you don't, the question is, are you okay with and you understood everything was going on? The likability part is not what I'm focused on, because I'm going to say things that people are not going to like. I'm going to believe things that other people are not going to agree with. The question is, can you exercise enough critical thought? This is why I like watching this, man. But can you exercise enough critical thought to hear things to experience things, to feel things that you disagree with, but take in the information to make an informed decision logically, not emotionally, to have better results, not just for yourself, but how you also deal with other people in the future. Are you intellectually, wow, I just fucking mixed up two words. Intellectually and also emotionally mature enough to get that done? That's all I try to do, folks. I know a lot of people don't get that.
For challenging people. And like, whoa. Man, I've received death threats. Okay, so like this is serious. Like we're in this space. Here we are. Okay, so Gary the Willard Preacher over the years. I'm a friend of Gary's. Gary and I have done a couple debates together as fundraising endeavors, fundraising debates, because students in this class used to raise money for projects that we were doing in Haiti for many years. And so a couple different groups of students and a couple different semesters, they said, hey, can you do a debate with Gary? And then we'll charge admission to the debate, and then that's the money that we'll donate to this project in Haiti. So I've always told students, hey, listen, man, you want to hone your thinking skills? Go try to debate Gary, right? Go try to debate him, man. You're almost certainly going to lose, okay? And he's just better at it. He's a really nice guy, actually. And the debates that he and I did, it wasn't so much a debate, really. And what it was I knew Gary, and I know that sometimes, he says things to get people's attention. Because if you don't, wait, are we am I on camera up here in the front of the room? Hey, team, can you put me on something? There we go. All right. So this is what you do when you walk past Gary, like this. He's talking and you're walking, right? But here's what you do when Gary says something that's really like, boom, something.
But you see that, right? They're all tuned in. They're all paying attention. They're tuned in very intently. I love it. They're really paying attention. Those are some real minds that are working. I love it.
That's like that. A little bit controversial or something. You're walking along and you go like, what did he just say? Right? And that means you've stopped. That means now you're going to listen. And so that means Gary's going to start. And then someone's going to start debating him. And then now you've done what we're supposed to be doing at universities, which is engaging and thinking and debating and like, okay, that's good. And you can say, oh yeah, but he says things that are insensitive or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a white man. Maybe it's because I'm 65. But like, we're adults. It's all right, So.
Okay, folks. So, and I might have to jump ahead because I'm not. I know he's laying. He's about halfway through it, but he's laying on the groundwork. But here's my thing. Even when he said that, he said maybe because I'm a white man, don't care. Maybe because I'm 65, don't know the feeling yet. If I make it that woohoo, I guess. But I say this: should it matter today? Should it matter who you are and where you come from? If you get perspective and that's part of your experience, people can either challenge it and agree or disagree, or give more nuance or a different take on the experiences that even you gave. Even your own personal experience, someone else can be able to introduce things that even did happen to you that you did not even want to acknowledge. Knowledge that actually took place that maybe you'll even take into consideration. These are things that are very important. However, as much as he is teeing up the whole conversation when it comes to the whole Charlie Kirk thing, and look, wait, by the way, folks, here's what's written here. And when Charlie came to Penn State. So apparently his conversation with Charlie Kirk was when he was at Penn State. That's not to say that Charlie was enrolled in Penn State, but just when Charlie came to Penn State. So I guess we know a little bit about that right now. But I want to know how these young people who are going to be our future representatives really think about this. So I'm gonna look a little bit forward to see. Okay, so we already got some people coming up here. I'm gonna play about a little bit more, and then I'm gonna jump ahead.
I always say that about him. And when Charlie came to Penn State, I said the same thing. People would say, oh, this guy, oh, God, either they love him or they're going to go try to protest. And I'm like, what are you going to protest? What are you protesting? Ideas? Like, what are you actually protesting? Come on, man. Instead of protesting, what you do is go in.
And you know what, Cam? I appreciate you. I appreciate you and everything you do. And I'm happy to see your face back in my chat. You know why? Just because. I appreciate you for the $4.99, and I hope to see you more. I hope to see me more doing this, but I appreciate you being here as well. Great person, big supporter, great person to have conversation with. Appreciate you for the $4.99.
Debate him, right? Go debate him. But a lot of people don't want to do that because they're going to look silly because he became a really smart guy. And you can say, well, you can't be very smart. Some of you maybe, you can't be very smart because I disliked his ideas. Well, you can dislike ideas, but debate. That's what we're doing at a university. This is it. This is it, man. We're trying to be smarter. We're trying to just be better and smarter than what we were when we started. And so the news of his death yesterday really, it led me to, can you go backwards one, Niche? What happens next? Okay, now what? Where are we going? Okay, so go ahead, go forward, and then go one more. And it led me here. Violence or the threat of violence against civilians to achieve some political goal.
You know what? I'm thinking about that, but I'm gonna stop there. You know what? No. He's almost got it. He's gonna start inviting people. I'm gonna finish it.
So 9/11 is terrorism. What happened yesterday, the killing of Charlie Kirk, is terrorism. So
that's a route I have not heard. Hey, I'm gonna say I've been listening to MSNBC, Fox, Pierce Morgan, random YouTuber, and I have not heard anyone say that the killing of Charlie, outside of this man right here, call it terrorism. I am shocked that this is the first time I'm hearing someone literally call it terrorism. Wow. And honestly, he's not wrong. Given the circumstance and how everything unfolded, however you feel about the situation, it is an act of terror. And I'm surprised that I'm just now hearing, it's been, 2 weeks since Charlie Kirk's death? This is crazy that I'm just now hearing about this. Hearing those words being unfolded. That's wild.
Huh. I have my own thoughts when I think about this question of, okay, what's next? What's going to happen next? Where are we going to go? I have my own thoughts. But
different generation.
I'm of a different generation. So I really don't want to hear my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. Like, what do you think? What's next, y'all?
He sounds like me.
So, you two gents. So I'd like to have at least, we have 2 volunteers. I didn't pick anybody out before class. I happened to speak to, would somebody else like to, it'd be nice if somebody, I need a woman actually. I don't want to do the male woman thing, but we got to have a women.
Listen, and this is where people even have a problem with me when I talk to people in the street. I don't want to do the male woman thing. Can we? Because I don't want to hear about gender shit. I just want to talk about the issue. I'm happy that he did that. Because I do that when I talk to people in the street. Like, it's not about a male woman thing. We're talking about the conversation about Charlie, or we're talking about the conversation about economics, or we're talking about the conversation about education, or we're talking about the conversation about, whatever. And it's like, well, as a woman, the moment, first of all, let me just say this, folks. if you talk to anyone, or if you're hearing some of the very places that you like to go watch your debates or conversations with, anyone, even if you're reading the comments, anyone who starts off with the words as a, disavow everything they say. As a single mom, as a black man, as a white woman, as a Hispanic, as an Asian, as a first generation, as a, disavow everything that flies afterwards. Fuck you is what I'm thinking. You can make your point without having to make it seem like because you say the words as a, all of a sudden it carries weight and validity. It does not. It does not. If you're not able to expound upon a point that can be salient and agreeable enough or be understood by other people without having you try to make qualifiers as if somehow you are a case study, do not write in your comments, do not start your sentences off with as a. Just don't do it. You make yourself some really, really silly against people who are actually people who actually use critical thought. I'm just saying.
You haven't volunteered yet.
I know
right?
some of you have done it.
All right. Are there any international students who, this is not just about the US, by the way. Anybody international who would be like, yeah. Anybody from the Middle East, by the way? Wait, do you want to volunteer?
Why the Middle East?
Yeah, you want to go? Wait, hang on. Well, before you do, any woman from?
Oh,
Israel,
right?
Where are you from? Saudi. You want to volunteer? Okay, come on. Sorry, bro. I'll hit you up next time. All right. Can you you guys move down that way? I'm going to have her sit here. Dude, yeah, okay.
Sorry, I already had myself blocked, muted. Exactly my point. It's exactly my point. Speak for you and you only. Do not speak for a community. I already got you. Shut up. I saw it. Don't do that. Like, do not speak for other people. As a black person, as a single mom, as a single dad, a big dick male stripper, just stop with that as a. Calm it down, tap it down, and just say, hey, for myself, in my opinion, whatever happened to that? In my opinion, I'm a black man. In my opinion, is better than as if you're a spokesperson. I'm a black man. Maybe you don't know because maybe I don't have an avatar. In my opinion, sounds way better because you're going to speak for yourself. But for some reason, the hidden nuance between as a mother, oh, so you need to speak for all mothers? You didn't say you speak for yourself, but you speak for as a mother, which means that other people who are mothers should also see your point of view. Not all mothers will see your point of view. I've met educators who don't see the things all the same. But that's my phenotype apparently. For all you know, I could be Dominican. Fuck do I know? However, I know people keep trying to take my black card, and I keep saying, if you can take it from me, go ahead, because I'll give it up freely. I don't know what it means. We gonna take your black card. When I never received it in the mail. Maybe I lost it on the way out of my mom's vagina. But as far as I know, you can't take that from me. And if you want it, you can take it because I already get criticized for not having a fucking, not being black enough because apparently you don't live in the hood no more. I don't. Oh, you got a good credit score? I do. Oh, you ain't really behind on bills like that? I'm not. You pay shit on time? I do. You ain't black. And you know what? If black means being broke, being ignorant, and being in debt, I'm okay not being black. Somebody's going to clip that. If it means being comfortable and not being destitute, I'm okay. Y'all can't hear it in the background, but I got a whole ambulance coming by. Somebody just heard what I said. It's yeah, heart attack. I can't believe Resla just said I'm okay. Scandalous. I know. Scandalous. Just saying. Shocker.
Oh yeah, I need that. All right. Okay, can we? You know, by the way, Jamie is in my ear, and she just asked me a question. Jamie is one of the moderators of the class and the chat, and she asks, "Is there a reason that you said debate and not conversation?" Wait, maybe just scoot a little more this way. Okay, that's good. And yeah, Jamie, I think because first off, it's really about conversation, right? But I think because I said debate because both Gary, of course, Gary is very happy to have a conversation. And when you have a conversation with Gary, he's really, really thoughtful. He's a really, really nice guy. Same with Charlie. Very congenial, very friendly. I quite enjoyed him, actually. So
the students' questions. We've been hearing you talk for a while now. So I need people to talk.
Like where I'm from.
yeah.
Sure. Okay. I'm from New Jersey and my major is general biology.
My name is Jack. I'm a civil engineering major and I'm from Boston.
I'm Jason. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, and I'm a RHS major.
I'm Walla. I'm from Saudi, and I'm a chemical engineering major.
Lala. Wait, Lala, this is your first day, right? Is this your first day in class? Didn't you just add it?
No.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
That's somebody else. Chemical engineering?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
from
sophomore.
Saudi. Okay, so listen, you can blacken the screen, by the way. Hey, what are when you think about this, you know, where we're at, and we think about 9/11, we think about what happened yesterday. What are you afraid? What are you afraid of that might happen next? Like, what are you guys afraid of? And by the way, you can speak to both the U.S. and speak the Middle East, or however you want to go. And anybody can start. Like, what are you afraid of?
I think the thing I fear the most is retaliation. Just because we live in a world where retaliation is such a common thing on both sides in any issue. And with Charlie being such a high profile, I mean, he raised millions of dollars for the right wing party, endorsed candidates. I just feel like it opens the door for someone else who feels passionate to do it to a leader on the left.
Mm-hmm. So what does retaliation look like when you say that? What?
Exactly.
I could see, like, okay, for example, because I was just having a conversation with friends about this. Kamala Harris is going on a book tour. And I believe President Trump got rid of her, I think it's called like presidential security or whatever that she had. What if she has one in Philadelphia coming up in a couple weeks? What if she goes to that?
Okay, I just need to know if it's just me. Kamala Harris is going on a book tour, right? Let me just put what he said. Kamala Harris is going on a book tour. She's no longer I would say, the runner of a party. She's the vice president. She is not the president. She is not a potential candidate for presidency. It is not during a political cycle because Trump is currently in office, right? What kind of security does she need? Does she need federal security, or does she need whatever security that normal congressmen and normal senators and normal representatives get? I said congressmen, but I just mentioned both of those people for the hell of it. Which one does she need something? Just because she was vice president, does she need, say, Secret Service, even though she's no longer vice president? I don't know. I'm asking as an opinion because she's doing a book tour. She doesn't have to do a book tour. Hell, shit, I could be wrong, but I don't even remember really Michelle Obama doing a book tour. I could be wrong because I just never really cared about what Michelle Obama did. But do you need that? I'm just wondering.
And someone wants to retaliate and says, I'm going to go to Kamala Harris' book tour and do what they did to Charlie.
Mm-hmm. Hey, by the way, I like that you said some of us, not them, some of us, right? That's, Yeah. How about somebody else? Like, what are you most afraid might happen?
I think, our guns the laws changing. The laws have changed in Massachusetts already. You can't even have a Glock anymore. That's just a handgun. It's not an AK-47 or an AR-15. It's a handgun.
Well, so you're afraid actually of clamping down on the Second Amendment.
Yeah, because guns don't kill people, cars don't drive drunk, spoons don't make people fat. People kill people. People are sick, and they're the ones that kill people.
I've said this multiple times, people. I've said this multiple times to you. I've said this on all the panels. I've said this to people in private conversations. I've said this to people over the phone. I've said this to people on back chats. I've said this to people in the street. Your problem is not the weapons. The weapons are tools. Your problem is dealing with the people who cannot manage the tools. If we're saying it's a mental health crisis of what's going out there, you know what you can't say? It's the gun. This person has a motherfucking mental problem. It's not the gun. Because if it was really that simple, folks, we just got to manage the guns. Then why does our cousins across the pond are still dealing with stabbings? They don't have gun deaths. Stabbings. Where you going to do? You going to ban butcher? You going to ban chef knives? You going to ban kitchen knives? It's the problem with the mentality of these people, whether they are sick or whether they are going through something or whatever, or they fall into a particular economic struggle or whatever. It's the people you have to worry about, not the tools that they're using. Because let's just say you ban knives. Now nobody can really cook. You can't really have restaurants or whatever. You take away guns. Now you can't really have anything else. You think people are not going to be out there beating each other over the head with clubs? What are you going to do? Now we got to ban clubs. Now we got every baby born, we're going to amputate them because people can't have hands no more. Like, how far will the intellect stop in order to understand that we have a mental health crisis when it comes to some of these people, or a situational crisis of where they are economically, socially, versus what they use to get the job done? Because we never blame anybody else for using all the tools available in society for getting jobs done in a positive sense. But we blame it for a negative sense when we made it readily available for anyone to get it done. This is what I'm talking about.
By the way, can I just tell you something? There are a ton, so many Second Amendment people watch this class. So you made a lot of friends right there. By the way, okay, somebody else.
Well, I think that was a really good segue into this. I think with the combination of possible retaliation and the lack of gun laws, wouldn't gun laws be better if there is a fear of retaliation from the left?
Yeah.
I think the problem with taking away or putting any gun laws into play is you're going to create a black market for guns. There's already a black market. There's already ghost guns, and it's just going to be just like weed, just like cocaine, just like anything else that gets on the street.
All right. Okay. So hang on. I want you to go back. What is it? Layla. Okay. Layla, go back to. So you made that point, but go back to the main question. What are you most afraid of?
I think I'm most afraid that America won't utilize Charlie Kirk's death in the correct way, and nothing will really be gained from it, and it'll take too long to.
Question for you guys. America, what do you think utilizing Charlie Kirk's death in a positive, let me add extra, effective way looks like? What does that look like to y'all? Feel free to write in the comment section if you catch us on the replay, but chat, what does that look like to you? What does it mean to utilize someone's death in a positive way? And I'm adding extra, in an effective way, because I can think about other people who have passed away, was killed through all kind of gun violence, misunderstandings, whatever the case may be. But can we say that their death, that their loss of unnecessary life, if you want to call it unnecessary, was utilized in an effective and constructive way that would be considered, quote, positive? What does that look like? because I think about the Sandra Blaine. I can't remember that. Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Amelie Louima. What is positive? A positive, constructive, and most of all, effective way. The effective part is something I'm really drumming on, because that means it needs to have actual tangible results. Not a feelings, not a light a candle, not a street memorial. Tangible benefits. Sandra Bland, sure. I mean, we can mention all the names in the world. It doesn't answer the question. Positive and effective. We can mention all the way people all the way back to the fucking early 1900s. I need to know about positive and effective. That's the most important part. Not about our recounting of how great we are in history. Because I know we can easily lose track. Not about how much we know, but how effective we are. I just need to know, what does that look like? Because to me, the only way to answer the question, or rather to try to put something away, is to say, we need to not look at the disparities or the actions of the things that happen, but start doing actual research and say, why do they happen? Not without the whole blame and conjecture of the things that we can just say, because there are people who turn around and lie. Everyone lies. I feel like I'm watching an episode of House. Everybody lies. But rather, if you can go through statistics, and I can hear people say, you can't trust statistics because you can't trust the cops, and you can't trust the FBI, you can't even trust the Census Bureau. You can't. Doesn't all that just mean you can't trust people because people lie? I can't trust the stats and statistics of the FBI or the CIA or the Census Bureau or anything, because people, by default, just fucking lie. So if I can't use that, that means we need to go off a base of what we actually see. And if we have body cam footage, and if we have shit that's been mainstream and national, whatever, and we have mass shootings, if we go all the way down to Oklahoma City, all the to the Oklahoma City body, to fucking Virginia Tech, all the way to currently now to fucking to I almost said Kirk Franklin, Charlie Kirk. If we do all of that, we got to turn around and say, what are the other contributing factors of the individuals that led to that? Is it an economic thing? Is it a social thing? Is it a stigma because they just couldn't get pussy, as I heard a lot of people say? Is it because they just had no friends? Is it because it's a foreign thing? Someone needs to start doing real hard analytics rather than, it's a left problem, it's a right problem. You know, the left, you know, the right, you know, Trump, you know, Biden, you know, Clinton, you know, Obama, you know, Reagan. Like, we need to really dive deeper rather than shifting blame. We need to look at this as a contextual human issue, not a party issue. Because, and I say this to so many people, and people still don't get it for some reason. It's real easy. I've had this conversation with many people, especially my guy OG Dirty. I never gave a shit about who is in power, because what they do does not influence how I have to put money, how I have to put food on the table. They have never determined how rich and how poor I am. That's all on me. That's all on my effort. The same way how I can see stupid yahoos even still here online today talking about, I don't need to say that we need to calm down our violence. I need the president to say, why the president speaking for you? Because he's the commander in chief. But what's that have to do about you and your actions as an independent, free, quote, individual? You say you're free and you don't want no one to dictate your actions, but the first thing you'll say is you need someone else to say what you can easily say. This is why I tell a lot of people you need to get kicked by a horse and die. The moment you wholeheartedly relinquish all of your rights because you need someone else to open their mouth. Personal opinion, you don't need to agree. You don't have to like it. But I said it, so you should probably think about it. You don't have to agree. Not at all. Not even a little bit. But I said what I said. And hopefully you'll take some time to think about it. That's all.
Put the pieces together of significance, meaning like, what was he talking about when he died? Who killed him? Was it a civilian or was it planned? Was it, the date, the location, things like that? It's going to take a little bit too long to dive into those things, which prolong the process of gun control and things like that.
Okay, so wait, what's the very first thing you said, how you started your sentence?
I'm sorry.
All right, no, okay. So, all right.
If people got mad, they leave in the chat now.
Okay.
They got mad
So
at what I
we
said.
don't learn from it. What would you like us to learn?
And by the way, that's fine. I know a lot of people like to go bouncing from place to place because they're looking for an echo chamber. That's what I dispel. I don't look for echo chambers here. My whole thing is to dispel narratives and talking points. And I say everybody can feel free to absolutely disagree with me. But you know what this is not? This is not Charlie Kirk's thing. This is not Candace Owens' thing. This is not Steven Crowder thing. This is not a change my mind segment. That's not what I do here. Especially when I run my show, not this show, but when I have my show opinionated. It's an opinion. It's not a fact. And if you feel like you believe in what you believe in and what you believe is absolute fact, then you shouldn't be talking to anybody else because you already believe what you believe in. You shouldn't go anywhere that's going to challenge your views because you feel like you know what's best. And if you were that motherfucking perfect, then I'm going to say, why the fuck are you here talking to me? Why are you here listening to me? If you're perfect, you should be living high off the hog, not listening to what other people's thoughts are. Because why? You're perfect just the way you are. So if you're listening to other people, even though you're perfect, I'm going to say you're not. Eat a dick.
Learn.
Gun control is necessary. I think that's a point that needs to be pushed, but there are...
Okay, go beyond guns. Set aside guns, because he could have been killed in any other way, okay? What do we need to learn? You can think about what I was saying, think about what do we have to learn?
Sam, can I add something?
Yeah. Wait, no, hang on. I want to stick with Layla for a second.
Can I think on it?
Yeah, let me come. Yeah, hang on. How about you? Like, what do you think we need? What do we need to learn right now? Like, what are you afraid that we're not going to learn?
Well, from like what I know about Saudi, we don't really have like the choice of being able to own a gun. So
Hey, I could tell you somebody right now who goes around saying that they're perfect. I run across plenty of people who are perfect, but since we want to talk about the internet, I could tell you somebody right now who talks around and say that damn, they're perfect. If they're not, they are perfect. Anton Daniels from AntonDaniels.com. He says he's perfect. Verbatim. Now you can go take that up with him. And you tell him where you heard it from, where that Resla said, because you asked the question here on screen, who goes around saying that they're perfect? Anton Daniels from AntonDaniels.com says he does. So you can go look for Anton Daniels. You can tell him how much you don't believe that he's perfect. Because this is the question that you gave.
I feel like seeing how our life is there, like we don't really see as much like gun violence or like terrorism, as you said it, in our country. So I kind of don't really agree with his point about like it's based on people. I feel like if you're giving people a choice to own a gun, then...
All right. So listen, I want to, it's not that I don't want to touch guns, because I'm happy to touch guns, right? But I want to go beyond that. We're beyond guns right now, y'all, right? Like we are, from what I'm seeing here, Look here. I want to sit with some. I want you all to sit with something. I want you to respond to something. This thing could go south, okay? You know what I mean by that, going south, okay? It could really spiral. Thinking about it spiraling, and so Layla and Walla, what are you afraid of? Wait. Like spiraling, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you kind of, Jason said it in a way, it's like retaliation, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and like, oh, like what do you, hang on, do you think about that? Maybe you don't think about it.
Think about
things spiraling and getting out of control.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's natural with any major thing, especially Charlie Kirk. He represented so much. He said so much all the time. So his death means a lot to a lot of people in a lot of different ways, but I'm not sure really what I'm afraid of other than the meaning of it and the symbolism behind his death not being understood and utilized.
So you're not really afraid in the way that some people, how about you? Like,
No, I am still afraid. I am still afraid of things going south because things can go south in every way.
Okay. All right. So I'm thinking about, like, go ahead.
For example, after the incident yesterday, my
I don't even know why you're doing this. You said satire. He goes around literally, whether it's in mainstream or whether on his own channel or whether on other people's platforms, he says it. You can turn around and say you want to call it satire. Again, talk to him. I don't care. I really don't care. I understand satire, but he walks around in prominent spaces and he said, I don't have a problem with Anton at all. But you asked a question, so I gave you an answer. If you have a problem with people who says they're perfect, because I haven't said it, I gave you a person. I answered your question. If you have a problem with that, take it up with him.
parents called me and they were telling me about
That's
how
it.
they were
Ask
worried
him to
about
prove it.
how
Hold it a little closer.
my parents called me and they were telling me about how they were worried about how the whole situation was done so easily and how this could lead to a spread of violence. So it does cause people to be afraid.
So cause your parents to be afraid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, right? Because we have the idea that, there are a lot of people in this room that would be afraid to go to Saudi Arabia. And if they went to Saudi Arabia, their friends and family would say, oh my God, be careful over there. It's really dangerous over there. And you would say, like, come on, man. Nothing gonna,
Like, we're the land of peace.
You might get run over by a Mercedes or something, you know what I mean? But you'll be all right. How about somebody, so either Jack or Deshaun, or Jason, sorry. It's being afraid, like things going south, right? What's that look like to you guys? Or are you afraid? Do you have any fear of that? Like, y'all are young, you know what I mean? Like, you're just starting your lives. Like, I'm at the end, like, I'm looking around and I'm saying, well, if it goes south, I got my best years in it. So,
I mean, even to touch on back to the point of like, what can we learn from it? I'm afraid that, because I already feel like we're at that point kind of, but like, I'm afraid that people are going to continue to not know how to get things done in this country or like realize where their anger needs to be directed. Because to the point of what I said about Charlie Kirk being like he was a big influence on the right-wing party. He raised money, but he was not a politician. He did not sign a bill. He did not have any like pen to paper influence on any type of policy.
Yeah.
And I feel like people lose the scope on their city council, their school boards, their state legislature that actually put pen to paper on how our day-to-day lives look, our economy looks.
I agree, because I've said it for so long. Too many people are too busy worried about their general elections, and they don't pay attention to people how they got to quote the general election. You don't pay attention to all your local elections. You don't pay attention to your city councils. You don't pay attention to your mayors. You don't pay attention to your governors. You only pay attention, apparently, when it comes to who's running for president. And then you get mad at the person who's running for president. Well, if these are the people who are not doing good, it's only because you didn't have your eye on the ball from the moment you were able to first vote. all the way to when the fuck they got to be able to be there on a quote presidential stage. That's your fault. It's your fault for not tracking their career to know that they were going to be the best candidate or not. The same way how people don't pay attention until a person is sitting there on a presidential debate is the same way how a lot of people do not get all the information they need and all the context they need, and they'll make very important decisions based on a 30-second clip. Not for nothing, this is also how Jack Kennedy won. Because people were able to see that the person right next to him debating for it didn't look the part, even though he had already been doing his shit. As we say, information changes situation. Let me say that again for you guys. Information changes situation. And as much information as you have, the more informed that you are. Most people make a lot of decisions based on very limited information. That's all.
School policy, and that's where our real anger and our real attention needs to go to. And I feel like a lot of these influencers, they take up all this attention, and then I don't know, people just, they don't direct their anger and their attention to where it needs to go to actually make change in this country.
Okay, so that's interesting, actually, right? All the time people spend on making comments on Reddit or TikTok or Twitter or X or whatever it's called, or Facebook, whatever social media they're on, they could actually go out and visit their local school board sessions or city council sessions or run for something or whatever the case is. There's a lot of things they could do. Huh. Do you have?
I do. I think another fear is maybe someone taking it upon themselves to handle his unfinished business, because I'm sure a lot of people that supported Charlie Kirk feel like, oh, he's gone too soon, he wasn't done, like the things he was pushing, he was making change. Other people may feel the need to echo him or carry on the rhetoric he was pushing, and I don't think that's beneficial at all.
Okay, so for you, actually, so you're someone who, for the most part, there are many things that Charlie said that you would agree with.
That I would agree with?
For sure.
No.
Well, listen to what I said earlier. He said the guy was talking every single day, all just like me. I have thousands hours of video. He has probably 100,000 hours of video. There are things that he said that I will guarantee you would say, oh yeah, a lot of things that he said that you'd be like, yeah, that's actually a really good point, and that's a smart point, and that's good, that's bad,
Oh, I'm sure, but with the context and with just everything altogether, Charlie Kirk as a whole, I know I do not agree with. He could say and have, some clear points that are factually true or statistically.
They are speaking that damn. If this is 1.25, they are speaking hella slow. These are people sitting there in college, folks, and they are speaking hella slow. This is driving me nuts. Ooh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm trying to put that up there. I'm gonna try to bring it over to 1.5. We'll see how it happens. Hopefully we don't miss it.
True or morally true in rare cases, but that doesn't mean I agree with him and everything that he did. I wouldn't even say I agree with
It's not everything. It's some things, right? And so,
Sure.
And so that's just kind of like me. It's like anyone. And there's nothing that if you decided, hey, I'm going to pick up and do what Charlie Kirk did, or any of us in the classroom, right? And you would think, the guy got these really good ideas, and I'm going to push him forward. Immediately, you just start saying things that you think are really thoughtful and smart, and then half the people are like, oh, this person's a jerk, like whatever. And so I get what you're saying. Like you have your own kind of personal vision of the world, and but you also understand that, right? Okay, all right, that's fair. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I'm afraid that people laugh about this. Like I've seen it on TikTok now. Like people are laughing that an influential person in our world that made us question our beliefs, just like you do yourself. It's not funny. No one should die. Right? Everyone has a right to live. That's another one of our rights in the United States.
So what's your fear of that? People not taking this seriously.
I like what he said, but I'll push back on some of the things. He says no one should die. Everybody should have the right to live. I'm going to say it differently. Everyone has a right to live, but everybody dies. The idea of no one should die, there's good luck to you fixing that. But everybody has a right to live. To live as long as they can. That's the whole point of the word survival. That's all.
seriously. And
I think just because the person died, the voice doesn't stop. Someone else is going to fill his position sooner rather than later, and everyone's going to have to live with it. And I fear that it's just going to happen again, and history is going to repeat itself once again.
so you're this college student coming down here from Boston, right? And you are.
I kind of agree / not agree, because let's just look at what the rhetoric, the most popular slogans that are being brought forth now is, right? Fascist, Nazi is the current thing that's being drummed up so often, right? If you had people who were like Adolf Hitler, and still there has not been another person who has been like him, but there are so many other people who liken people who they dislike to him when they are nowhere close to that. Are they following in that man's footsteps, or are there other people that are trying that just because they don't like him, like say Trump? If you don't like Trump, are you pushing him to be like like Hitler, or he's just nothing like Hitler, but because Hitler's the worst thing that you can think about, that's the only thing that you can say? Let's think about it. When it wasn't Hitler, you said Stalin. There are people who were before Hitler and Stalin, you know what they said? Caesar. People take the extremes, and unfortunately, because there are other people who are not as educated, take it to the next frontier. Let's just put it that way. And these are the people that we look at. That's why I also have to say mental health that we need to be on the lookout for. And here's the sad part about mental health. We have a hard time proving exactly what actually is a mental disability. Because even when I think about the last 3 to 4 people who have done very prominent things to be hitmen in their own right, everybody says they were nice, they had a smile, they had a nice guy's face, they were smart. So obviously not everybody looks like a psychopath. But I hear, of course, the other talking points, they all look like they're incels. I digress, because people will take anything everywhere.
You're studying at Penn State. You're spending a lot of money here at Penn State to study, right? You want to be challenged. You need people in your life who are going to say things that challenge you.
Yeah, that's why I didn't stay at school in Boston.
Yeah.
See how important that is? You need people in your life who are going to say things that challenge you. And I did a stream about this already. For those who already saw the stream, hey, what's going on, Wheels? Appreciate you for actually walking in. You're a little late to the stream, but appreciate you for walking in. I had a whole stream about this, right? He says you need people who's going to challenge you. What we need are people. We need more people who's going to hear things and say, I don't agree with it, but I'm going to think about it, even if I don't like it, versus the current stream that people are trying to push for right now, which is a cancel culture or disagree and die. I absolutely do not agree with it. The same way how a lot of people do not like Elon Musk, but you know what Elon Musk says all the time, whether you agree with him or not? Protecting the First Amendment. Period.
Okay, so listen. So, for example, you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, right?
Yeah.
So you then,
Well, I think in general as an American, like no matter what the amendment is, what amendment, or what the Constitution is, I think we just got to back the Constitution altogether.
I got you, man. You're a supporter of the Constitution. Yeah, exactly. So I hear that. Yep. And so, but for you, then it becomes this thing where it's really good for you to completely engage people who would like nitpick the Constitution, right? That's important for you, right? That's how you're going to grow intellectually and so on. Right? Hey, I have another question. Yeah, go ahead.
One quick point. I just want to the fear thing, right? Another fear of mine, and it goes to what I was saying about the attention, is there was a school shooting yesterday, and it's concerning, and it's a fear of mine that even on the slideshow, there wasn't a picture of the news report from the school shooting yesterday, where I think it was 4 kids who were in critical condition, also did firearms. And so, like I said, this is just a thing of attention, right? Where the attention of like where we need to really be focusing on how to change our world, and not even just our world, but our country. It's just not being put on the correct situations. And like I said, Charlie was a very influential figure, and it's something we should talk about, something that will impact the future and how we approach things. But there are other situations that are going on even more frequently that I feel like we should have a conversation.
So here's something he's mentioned, but I have a question myself. Ooh, the moment I asked that question, I had like other questions that popped up as well. Fuck, still stumped me. The original question I was going to ask. What do you think are some things that some of the youth are using? I say some of the youth because a lot of us are in our middle ages, if not a little older, and our senior ages. Um, what do you think the youth is doing to become prominent figures for their generation, if not the generation that they're looking after, which would be the older one? Do you think that they're doing their best to become prominent figures? Because not everybody's going to do their thing and be as influential, especially as Charlie Kirk was in his early 30s. What do you think are people really doing to do that? Because let's be honest, most people are not very influential until they are in their late 30s, if not early 40s or mid 40s. Most people do not get in ahead of the time on the curve as early as Charlie Kirk. I'm just looking at how history is. Most people are not taken seriously that early. Even though 30 to a lot of younger people will turn around and already start trying to call you an old head, which is crazy to me. But still, I was in my early 30s and just starting to get gray, and people was calling me an old head, and I said, "You're crazy because I can outwork you." So, what do you think people are actually doing to try to boost up against that? Honestly, I'm not sure. A lot of people have their ideas in it right now. They're just dealing with the landscape of what it is, and again, they are in the right space, especially as this class, because I would say that they're having their viewpoints challenged, and at least they get to sit down in a quote controlled environment to be able to expound on those points and have those points attributed to. I appreciate these kind of classes. I wish we had more like them. I think he's setting an actual benchmark as to what college is supposed to be like. But I don't want to run too far because we already did a little bit, close to half of his stream. Now, if you want to know more about it, I would suggest to actually go check out his stream. To check out the channel for the stream. What is the name of this channel? Because I subscribe to make sure I can go take a look at it. So it is actually, let me go do this right now for you guys. It is the SOC. Oh, just for you. SOC 11, or rather 111, 119, the SOC 119 channel. So if you want to go take a look at some of the stuff that got going on, he constantly has conversations with young intellectuals or young students who want to learn. It's been a whole bunch of things across the board. He's tackled racism. He's tackled reparations. He's tackled the shootings. He's tackled intellectual biases. He's tackled prejudices. He's tackled a whole bunch of different stuff. Wealth and inequality. He's tackled so much different stuff. And I love hearing the kind of conversation that we, quote, should be having, but a lot of people are not able to have because they're too busy in their fifis. I don't want to run his whole show, but I think it's a great thing that we have still some pioneers in the education system that does it, because education is letting us down. It's letting the future down. I can tell you, I had a very poor education coming up. I've learned so much just being on my own. I learned so much more being on my own than ever being in school. I'm just not even going front on it. All right, let's change to a little bit of a lighter note, because this is something that's been sitting in my feed. And if anybody who knows who's been around long enough, when I was talking about this, I did a whole thing. I have a whole short about it anyway. When we were talking about Korea and even Japan, I'll even say China, because China's got some segments of it, who were talking about the aspect of their declining culture and how they even might want to bring people up to try to bring in people in that culture. Japan kind of dismissed it. Korea, not so much. But I saw something that came up in my feed that I found very interesting. Let's have a quick look at it, because I think it's going to be very, 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 very funny. Here we go. Oh, wait, here we go. All right. Title here, it says, why are Japanese people okay with cheating? I didn't even know they were really okay with cheating like that. Let's go take a look.
風俗に行くことは浮気かどうかっていう、どう思いますか？イエスかノー、イエスかノーで。 風俗に男、
Sorry, folks. Does prostitution count as cheating? Yes or no?
行くことは浮気かどうかっていう、どう思いますか？イエスかノー、イエスかノーで。
No.
ノー。
金払えばいいよって言ったことあります。
Recently, street interviews have gone viral, featuring Japanese people saying that cheating is okay. If you haven't seen this before, you're welcome for the culture shock. But there's more, because you have uni students in research papers going even further to say, well, everyone cheats, and husbands reflecting on their affairs, stating, if you want sex, that's where the girlfriend comes in. I'm going to take a
What? Wait, hold up. If you want to cheat, that's where the girlfriend comes in? I've never heard those words ever uttered. That is crazy. What? You know what? Shorty, convince me. What you mean by that?
wild guess here and say this kind of thinking and attitude towards cheating is not one you're familiar with. So where does this difference in value come from? And is there actually a cheating culture in Japan? To properly investigate this matter, I need to take you back in time to an era where Japan was genuinely chill with cheating. Cheating occurs
history
when
of
you're in
cheating,
an
folks.
exclusive relationship and you have an emotional or sexual affair with someone who is not your partner. Now, here's a question for you. What happens when you're in a committed relationship but you don't care for your partner at all? In ancient Japan, this was a common problem people faced because historically, commitments like marriage were not about love. The point of marrying someone was to form alliances between your families and to produce heirs. So it was almost like a business deal. Once you fulfilled your duties to your family, you were then free to pursue your own individual desires, like finding passion or love. We can see this mindset very clearly during the Heian era in Japan. Among the Heian elite, married couples often slept in separate residences, which made it really easy for other people to slip
His and
in
her
and out of
spots.
bedrooms without awkwardly encountering the wife or husband. It literally could not be easier to cheat. The Heian era was the most infamous time in Japan for cheating because it commonly occurred and because both men and women could cheat. As time progresses, we'll see cheating still occurs, but it becomes more and more of a thing only men could get away with. A few hundred years later, during the Tokugawa period, these restrictions came into place.
Tokugawa, let's
If
go.
men from the elite class wanted to sleep around, they could do so, but these activities had to be within Yoshiwara, Japan's first legal red light district. For elite class
Let's go. They immediately had brothels. They immediately had their own red light district where men were already okay. Let me just say this, because I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure I remember a little bit about my history when it comes to that. As someone who liked Japan very much, not every guy who was married was able to get himself a little side piece, because not every guy was rich. Some were beggars, some were farm. I would say most people I would say would probably did some kind of farming, but yeah, so I don't know about all that. And this, especially if you talk about during the Tokugawa period, because during the Tokugawa period, there was definitely a bit of war that was taking place as well, if my history serves correct. So yeah, I don't know about that. But to say there's a history of infidelity, a history of side pieces, I find it interesting, which also doesn't shock me as to why things that we consider to be a problem are not necessarily problems in Japan even today.
women, it was frowned upon for them to seek other partners. Confucian thought introduced through the text Onna Daigaku, or greater learning for women, required them to be faithful to only one husband. So, a double standard had emerged, and it was solidified during the Meiji era in the 19th century. The Japanese government implemented the IE system, emphasizing traditional household roles. Men went out to work, and women looked after the home. This structural division justified a lot of the cheating that was conducted by men. Japanese men worked hard for their family, they were the breadwinner, so if they occasionally needed an outlet to relieve their stress, then they deserved it. But if a woman were to cheat, she would be disrespecting her husband and her children.
Yo, if she cheats, she's a whore. Absolutely, that is a no-no. Did you not hear the word she used? Yeah. That means no. That was the period. If he worked real hard for his family, He is allowed to get a little trim on the side. Damn, that is crazy. But if she did it, she was a 1000% whore. That is wild. Wow. I would say how times have changed, but I'm saying it from an American lens. From the lens of Japan, I think they're still, I saw from the girls in the beginning, they're still okay with the whole cheating thing. This is wild.
For a while during the Meiji era, there was even a law that stated a husband had the right to kill his wife and her lover if he found them committing adultery. With
The husband is allowed to kill someone, to kill the adulterer and his wife if he finds them. That is wild.
such biased laws and widespread justification for men to cheat, women were low-key gaslit into thinking affairs were acceptable husband behavior. Even if they didn't like it, there was little they could do to stop it.
So here's a question about that, right? They were gaslit, as she put it, to accepting that the culture of their husbands being able to cheat was a normal thing, right? Here goes a quick question for you people who have been listening to other people, especially for those who like to watch these debate spaces. What makes that concept any more different than listening to Muslims having multiple wives? I know I probably just started a fight there. I just want to know what makes that any different from hearing someone saying that they want multiple wives, one to have fun with, one to have intellectual conversation with, one that's just really good at cooking, one just like, what makes this any different? Because obviously he couldn't get it from the one that he initially married. So what makes it different from what they're looking for between the Tokugawa and Meiji period from those who are even still talking about shit today as Muslims, whether they are here in America or if they are in Iraq, Afghanistan, Egypt, whatever today, Saudi Arabia, what makes them any different? That's a quick question for you guys. I'm wondering. I don't know if the Yakuza's have a harem. I think if anything, you know what? I'm actually gonna say they don't have a harem. I'm actually gonna say the Yakuza don't have a harem because you know why? You have to be able to prove yourself to be able to get yourself some bitches in a crime boss family. You can't just get bitches because you work for a crime boss family. You work for a gang. You can't just get bitches. You gotta. That's why these motherfuckers need to lose fingers and get all the tattoos. And you can't just get tattoos for the hell of it. You have to prove yourself to get some ink on your body. So it's not. And you can't fake to be a gangster because you can get killed for faking to be a gangster. You don't false flag. So I'm just saying, you know. Well, here's my thing. It costs to be the boss, and sometimes it costs you also to have a little bit of extra trim to be the boss. So if you doing it, they said the husbands, because the thing, if you're going to be a big crime boss, you also have to be married. It's kind of like as being a CEO. It is very rare that you run across a CEO that's not married. It kind of becomes a thing. The same way how we, even here in America, have never had a president that's been single or religious, non-religious. Like, being non-single and non-religious, we have not had a president. It just hasn't happened. Whether they lie about it or not, I think the closest thing is probably Trump, except for the fact that even before he ever ran, he already said he was Christian, or he did believe in Christian beliefs well before Melania, but he still did his other shit. But still, no one really looks at his relationship with Melania and goes, now there goes a good, wholesome Christian relationship. No one does that, but at the same time, he still fit the past history of saying so. So therefore, you have to take him at his word. It's for the exactly. It's for the optics. But like the same thing for like it is difficult for you to be a single, especially attractive, but single, tall, attractive CEO for a company non-married. People don't believe you. They think you're reckless if they see that you're a single. Unless you built the company yourself, you being a single non-married CEO, no one's going to take you seriously. Even Elon Musk has had to have children and whatever else going on. Like, for some reason, when it comes to business and hierarchies and status, having a wife is a status symbol. Saying that you claim somebody, be it the virtue of a woman or virtue of a man, is a status symbol that elevates you. Doesn't matter whether the relationship is good or not, it elevates you. It makes you appear loyal or having integrity, even if you do not actually display such things. This is how fucked up just society is for people. People say that's bullshit, but good luck to you running for president, even if you say that you're religious and not have a wife and kids. Good luck. Good fucking luck. You can sing. You can say, I spoke to God today. You can say, tell him on the mountain. You can read scripture. You could be a superhero. You can be as light skinned as you want to. You can be absolutely pale fucking white. You will not make it if you are not married. Why is that a criteria? Because here's the thing. It's not a criteria. But we as a society has made it a condition. The only criteria that we should be is that the only criteria that I've already known that we should that we've had is that you should be American and that you should at least be, what's the age limit? Is it 38? 38 years of age? I think it's younger, right? What's the, damn it, I gotta look it up. What is the official age to be able to run for president now? Hold on, let me take a look real quick. Official age to run for presidency. The official age to be able to run for president is 35. Okay, I said 38. It was 35. Yeah, you got it. But think about it. The youngest president I think we have on the record is Obama. And even he had to go through all the jumps and hoops. Damn, what the fuck is with my words? Jumps, hurdles, hoops, dog and pony show, because you cannot just say, I know what's best for America as an American man, as a law-abiding man, and I could do this. Okay, it's not enough. Do you know how to sing in the pulpit? No. You're gone. Are you married? No. You're gone. Do you know what? Are you married? Yes. Do you got any kids? You got any cubs? I got no cubs. You're gone. So that me understand this. In order for me to run for the highest nation, to be able to elevate, to take care of, to push forward my countrymen, I need to have first proven that I have swam in the oceans of the viscous innards of a good, supple woman. And I must have proven that I have produced some offspring. And I must say that I have sat in the front pew of some man yelling to me about Jesus just for me to qualify. Sounds like a lot of work. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Sounds like a lot of work. Because now it just says to me, and again, we can get mad at Resla for just calling out history, but it sounds like a lot of work for just saying that you're proud to be an American. Sounds like a lot of work to prove that you are just proud to be an American. Hey, you said it. You said it. Sounds exhausting. I don't got to pay for a citizenship test. I've been through the entire system of education. I worked my ass off. I've been to school. I've built constituencies. I've been in Congress. I've probably been a representative. I ran for the ticket, and none of it is good enough. I still need to pipe down a woman. Let's be honest. I need to pipe down a woman, most likely an American woman. And if she can't be an American woman, I have to get definitely married to her. Because why? That American woman, that non-American woman has to get married to me so that she can be legally an American woman. Because, if I just want to fuck a French woman and she gets pregnant, even if she doesn't get pregnant, if I'm just fucking a French woman, I cannot run for presidency unless I get married to her so that she can become an American citizen. So therefore I can run. She cannot be a baby mama. Even if she's American, she cannot be a baby mama. It eliminates me. Can't happen. She cannot be a baby mama. So I have to do everything, not according to my book, but by a book in order for me to be able to qualify to take care of my countrymen. Is that okay? Is that acceptable that I need to go through all these hoops to be able to make sure that we have proper taxes, that we hold everybody accountable, to make sure that we don't really end up in unnecessary wars, to try to make sure that everybody who's here deserves to be here, that everybody who is here is prosperous? I get it. I'm going to piss a lot of people off by just saying this because a lot of people don't want to hear about people doing right by the government. They just want to hear about people complaining about the government. They don't want to hear about someone who actually talks about what should be done. People just want to talk about the idealism of what it's supposed to be, or they just want to complain about who's currently in office. See, they don't really care about the America that we dream of. A lot of people just want to hear about the America that we can complain about. And let me say it again for you motherfuckers who like to be so engrossed in politics. A lot of people online do not want to be online to hear about the America that we dream it to be. And I'm not talking about white fence picking houses, but just fair opportunity and prosperity. People don't want to hear about that. What they want to hear about is disparity, victimhood, and how they're not the ones that they're claiming for a whole group, but they don't really care about the whole group. How they as an individual are not capitalizing, even though, I'll be honest with you, they probably haven't given their fucking full 100%. Which is why I know they'll leave. So, I tried to take it away from Charlie Kirk because it was getting a little too serious. So I wanted to go to a little something lighter. But since I got to bring it back to America, people are like, no, I don't like to hear that. Because if you're not saying, especially because they come up here and they see me as a black man, you're not going to talk about George Floyd. You're not going to talk about how it's inequality and how the black man is getting screwed. No, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get that from me. Sorry, if you're new to my channel, I don't do victimhood. I don't talk about bootstraps and all the other shit, but I don't do victimhood either. The only thing I talk about is human behavior, narrative, talking points, and most of all, staying away from indoctrination. Can you dig it, sucker?
Opinion was that it was fine. And before World War II, it was not uncommon for upper middle class men to have one or even two mistresses, as it was a sign of social prestige. At the time, the prevailing belief was if you couldn't keep a mistress, you were second rate. This double standard for cheating remained until after World War II.
Look at my man's over here. Do you see him? Look, let me do this full screen for y'all. Wait, hold on. Do you see him? My man is flexing. I got two bitches. Look at him. I didn't even know they had skinny jeans back then. Look at his fit. Look at his leg. Look at his leg, right? Look at his leg right over here. He flexing. That's wild. He got the kimono and the tight jeans. He's flexing. I got two bitches. Damn. You know, we can't have that today.
What changed? Well, political reforms and the introduction of Christian ideals during this time led to monogamy becoming the new norm for both genders. And we can see this reflected in the law. Before 1948, under Japanese law, adultery was only about the sexual relationship of a married woman with another man. I know. So now applying the same standard to men signaled a huge change in values in Japanese society. And this is honestly a very recent development. It hasn't even been 100 years. Compare this to the ancient Greeks and Romans, first millennium Jews and Christians, medieval Catholics, early modern Protestants, where marital monogamy has been the mainstream in the West for millennia. Not only is there a stark difference between Japan and the West in adapting monogamy, Japan also differs from its East Asian neighbors. Yes, Confucian teaching of loyalty and faithfulness was introduced to Japan, but it was only really applied to women.
So I'm gonna ask the question she's not asking, or at least she hasn't asked yet. Compared to other Western developed, no, I'm not gonna do it. Western developed, on the rise, Christian, moving forward, spreading of their of the manifest destiny. Did Japan get it right? We're not gonna look at how they fucked up now, and they ain't really having kids now, and their whole Gen Z and even millennials have fucked it up, dropped the ball. But the concept and how they were able to push forward, because if you ask me, they have more of a, since we like to talk about the feminists and the free sex and the free revolution in the 60s and the peace and love. Did they have it right? Was Japan always ahead of its time? That's the question I'm asking. Were they always ahead of their time? I wonder. Because in this day and age, even in 2025, because when we have here in America, we hear about gold diggers, people using men as wallets. Oh, it ain't nothing going on but the rent, also the shit like that. But in Japan, they say you can have a girlfriend, you can even have a wife. They say you can even fuck somebody else so long as you take care of the family and you don't shame the family. See, it's different here in America. See, shit, having a whole other family running off in the South and shit like that, and having a whole, Papa was a Rolling Stone and having all kind of other side families that didn't know shit until he was already, in the coffin at the funeral, is different from the fact of, I'm aware that you have a different family, as long as you keep your obligations to your first wife. Your second wife you have to take care of, but as long as the majority of your assets get taken care of by the first wife, because that's the same way how we look at it in the Muslim tradition, right? You can have all the little extra wife bitches that you want, but you know who's your main bitch? Your first bitch. Did Japan get it right? Like a lot of the other technology. Have you ever looked at a lot of technology and a lot of the way how they run their culture in Japan? They got a lot of shit that I am very, very envious about, because I think they got it right. But when it comes to the culture and how they even look at mating and dating, that's the question. Did they get it right? Because what you hear about this whole thing and what she's explaining right now, and we're only like less than a quarter in. You know what I haven't heard so far? God. I haven't heard shit about God. I haven't heard shit about infidelity. I haven't heard shit about it's sacrilegious. I haven't heard none of that. Just I'm thinking about it ahead of time while she's talking. Beautiful little thing on the screen, little porcelain princess sitting up there on the screen. I wonder, like a lot of things that Japan have, even to this date, is ahead of time. do they have this, at least this thing, as something that should be looked upon in the West?
Confucian definition of marriage, a monogamous bond between a man and a woman, was never really adopted by the Japanese. And Japan's most popular religions, Buddhism and Shinto, didn't place as much emphasis on marriage or monogamy as Christianity did in the West or as Confucianism did in East Asia. As you can see, these religious or philosophical differences played a very big role in emphasizing or not emphasizing marital monogamy. And all of this has a huge impact on what Japanese society later deems as acceptable. Laws may have changed, and monogamy may be the expectation now, but ways of thinking shaped by thousands of years of history do not just disappear overnight. So let's take a look at what Japanese people nowadays think, starting with the demographic featured in all those street interviews. Do young Japanese people really think this way, or is this just a cherry-picked sample? Let's find out.
Good question, girl. Good question. I'm wondering myself.
University, a time when nothing truly mattered. Lectures were held to be skipped, assignments were made to be submitted late, and uni campus was a landmark, a place you saw once a while and never for a long time. This spirit of nothing matters seemed to be shared in Japan too, though slightly differently. Momoko, a 21-year
Excuse me. I will hate on whoever needs to be hated on. Listen, if I was the greatest stand-up comedian and Jesus sat in the crowd, I would run a whole show on Jesus. Jesus could never try to heckle me if I was the greatest comedian in the crowd. I will talk about whoever needs to be talked about, your faith and everything else. This is what we do. If we could have talking about people, I saw a video recently that talked about, they said that white women, snow bunnies, got black men in a chokehold. And I had to look at it and go, he not wrong. He not wrong. I have never been so enamored when it comes to snow bunnies, but I've had my fair of Asian women. I've had more Asian women than I've had snow bunnies. So when I look at how many black men, just on social media alone, even with my own eyesight, have been enamored with the taboo of being a white woman, I can't disagree. I'm just saying. Yeah, look at the CEO in the building. What is going on, my guy? Appreciate you being here. We're here talking about is possibly if the cultural differences if the understanding of the relationships from the Asian persuasion, exactly that, persuasive.
Student cuts to the chase. Cheating is forgivable because we are still college students. This was a response to Kimura and Farah in their 2021 paper on how university students in Japan dealt with cheating. Most responses in the paper said cheating was common, and nearly every respondent justified it as a product of youth. It's a rather grim image. There's a shared belief among these respondents that because they're young, relationships aren't that serious anyways, and it's not like you're thinking about marriage, so cheating is more acceptable. May, a 22-year-old who cheated, says, "Because I am a university student, I do not need to have a very serious relationship. Basically, I started infidelity with a light heart." And I have a confession to make. I've cheated too. On my study schedule. Yeah, I
Hey, yo, did you hear?
Or TikTok instead of actually studying.
She's like, no, I have a confession to make. I cheated too. It's not that serious. I did it. Damn. As they say, these hoes ain't loyal, except for the fact that it's normal where they come from. It's a different world from where you come from. She said it's all right. She cheated. Absolutely. She got her some little something on the side.
Well, Something that's worked for me is to not force myself to open a textbook and start drilling vocab. That sounds horrible, but to simply work smarter, not harder. You never have to convince yourself to watch another anime episode. In fact, the struggle is to stop. So why fight that urge? Migaku is your one-stop language learning platform that comes with a Chrome extension, app,
All
mini
right,
courses, and more.
she promoting.
Very commonplace and acceptable, but I do need to emphasize the study looked only at those who had cheated or were the third person or were cheated on. It's a very specific demographic, so we can't assume the views and experiences being shared here reflect the experiences and thoughts of the broader population. Still, these responses offer some insightful perspectives. Respondents who cheated often minimize their behavior by rationalizing and justifying it, saying it's not a big deal, we're still young, and everyone does it. Despite this, there were still respondents in the same study who stated cheating was morally unacceptable and a deal breaker. Daiki, a 22-year-old who was cheated.
Could you imagine if we were in an age where we could turn around and say, hey, shorty, it's okay. It's okay that I knocked it down. We're young. Everybody does it. Everybody gets a little something on the side. Yo, shorty, chill. It was just one time. You know what? I only fucked up because I love you. Hey, everybody does it. That's what she told me. Everybody does it. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. Fuck all day. Fuck all night. All my bitches to wherever I go. All of my bitches east to the west coast. All my bitches. DMX said it himself. All right?
Upon says, yeah, I'm the type that doesn't forgive stuff like that. I'd kind of just immediately lose feelings for her. Many respondents who were cheated on broke up with their partner because they had the idea of once a cheater, always a cheater. And I know this is something that splits the room, so let me know in the comments below if you agree with it. Because we can even see a clear divide here in this study. There were those who thought cheating was okay, mostly the cheaters, and those who thought it should never happen, and they were usually the ones who got cheated on. When it comes to the street interviews, I suspect we're seeing a similar occurrence here. Those who cheat or have cheated will likely minimize their behavior, saying it's okay and it's common. But the part that seemed to shock people the most from these street interviews was how chill Japanese women seem to be with the idea of their partner saying a prostitute. So we're going to address this, and this is where all that historical context we looked at comes in handy. Remember, it wasn't until very recently, until after World War II, that the idea of monogamy was enforced in Japan for both genders. So for centuries prior, Japanese women would know their husbands were cheating on them, having affairs or visiting prostitutes to relax after work, and they could do absolutely nothing about it. Of course, things have changed now, but the ways of thinking or societal expectations can still linger. Many of these female respondents say they're fine with their partner seeing a prostitute, but are they really okay with it? Or is there still social pressure in being a chill girl because just 2 generations ago men could cheat and women were okay with it? Take a look at the reason why this respondent thinks prostitution is not cheating.
風俗に行くことは浮気
Did you see that? Does prostitution count as cheating?
かどうかっていう、どう思いますか？イエスかノー、イエスかノーで。
ノ
ノー。
ー。全然嫌ではあります。
いや。なるほど、なるほど。じゃあ、自分が重いって思われたくないっていうのを理由に浮気だとは思わないっていうことです。なるほど。
It's easy for us in the West to assume that not seeing a prostitute is the bare minimum. In fact, if that were a requirement, the bar is truly in hell. But the same privilege is not so readily afforded to Japanese women.
Hey, I don't want to hear it's not afforded to Japanese women. I'm not really trying to hear that. I saw the video recently. Listen, I'm gonna show you right now. Hold on. I'm gonna show this video right fucking now because I saw this and I said, "What? Look at it. You see this video right here? Look at the caption. The caption says, I'm gonna blow this up for you. Hold up, blow this up for you. Caption says,
A man could have his last 100, and if he loves you, you are really his heart.
I don't want to hear none of that shit. So, it said caption ours POV. You're a black guy in Asia. She already starts off yo. What she says.
You're handsome. I like chocolate. Delicious. Yeah.
Do you say this because I'm black?
Yeah. Me rice, your chicken. Perfect.
Hey, you know what? No, let's hear it one more time. One more time.
You're handsome. I like chocolate. Delicious. Yeah.
Do you say this because I'm black?
Yeah. Me rice, your chicken. Perfect.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. She says that to me. I'm sold. I'm sold. You can't talk about no. Listen, chicken and rice is a good combination. You can't. I'm sold. She said, perfect. I like rice. Yo, he took it from me. Yeah, absolutely. I like rice. I like rice. I'm good with it. I'm absolutely fine with that. Perfect. Chicken and rice is a great combination. Always has been. Always has been. And as far as I understand, not only is chicken and rice. Hey, he said it. Look, chicken wings with the fried rice. Hey, listen. Not only is it a great combination, but you're also telling me that even afterwards, and so long as I'm doing right by you, I can eat other flavors of rice as well. I can get a little sushi on the side, a little sashimi, a little bit. I can go dive in somebody else's dobity bowls. Hey, listen. As Tasha K put it, black man, Japan needs you. So I'm not mad at what I hear. I'm saying that if you don't have your passport ready to, I'm not saying me a passport, bros. I'm talking about this is a flyover and stay. I'm not gonna tell you this is a visit. Flyover and stay, guys. But you know what your options are ahead of time when you decide to stay. We're not landing. We're talking about visits. We're talking about you need to think about. You need to literally, this is the one time, I know as American men, you have a problem. So if you're foreigner, you probably won't get this. This is the one time, especially you American men, when you go to Japan, you don't hate, you assimilate. You stay there. You absorbed everything about the culture. I'm just saying, it is what it is. That's where I put it. And you make sure that you get chicken and rice because it's perfect. And don't you fucking forget it. Now, I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is this whole thing about, we've been talking about Charlie Kirk, because as much as I've been watching stuff and I've been having backdoor conversations with backdoor conversations with a whole lot of people, I have one for sure, have gotten a little bit tired of this whole conversation when it comes to Charlie Kirk. And I had someone hit my feed who has apparently the same thing. So I have no idea what she said, of course. So I'm looking at this all the same time that you have. Here we go. And the title says, let me play it for you. Sorry, for you guys could see the title. The title here says, I'm done talking about Charlie Kirk. Now she's got a final video. I don't know who this creator is. Her channel is, let me do this properly so I can give her a little bit of respect since I am viewing her stuff. Her channel is Brit Reacts, so it's a reactions channel, but the title is I'm Done with Charlie Kirk. I have no idea what she's about to say, but as someone, I can tell you right now, I am also done. I also don't want to really talk about Charlie Kirk, but I know he's been the flavor of the month since we started. I wonder what she's going to say about it. Let's get a little bit of taste of what it is.
Hey y'all, welcome back. It is me, Brit Reacts, and this will be my last video, at least for a while, regarding Charlie Kirk's murder. I've decided it is just the best thing for my mental health and myself, as I do not want to foster hate rhetoric or any other unproductive and useless conversation on my platform.
Already respect it, love it. Already, I understand, respect it, and love it. I don't want to be garnering that kind of hate. I don't really want that kind of attention. I don't like. So far, sister, I get it. So far, I already get it. So I really don't want that. There's so much other shit I could be talking about. Just because I'm talking about Charlie Kirk, I don't know how you feel about this, but just because I'm talking about Charlie Kirk doesn't mean that everything I talk about from here on is just strictly politics. Like, there's so much shit that makes me walk away from this particular conversation. I don't want to talk about the whole blackity black thing. I don't give a fuck about how people try to tie this shit to George Floyd. I just don't give a fuck. So I get it. Sorry, pushing on to you. Didn't really hear your point. Continue, sister.
Forum for people to spew what they feel is right and wrong. As I said before, the most authentic and true to myself way that I have decided to talk about this topic is while reacting to other people that I have always authentically reacted to on my channel, because I am not trying to capitalize on someone's horrific death for my own gain, but it is something going on in our society. And I do talk about these topics, and I have always reacted to Charlie Kirk. With that being said, we are going to react to Bill Maher, and the title simply says Charlie Kirk. So let's see what he has to say while I also kind of summarize where I'm at in case there's any confusion.
All right, so I didn't realize this was going to be kind of a theme show because we write our editorial before the week starts, and so it was all about freedom of speech. Then the assassination occurred, so this is turning into a theme show. But it is kind of interesting that this guy was shot, and he's been on our show, but on my podcast, I talk to him, I like to him, I like everybody.
For violence in response to speech.
So for those who didn't see this, I saw a little bit of it. This is Bill Maher's show. I don't think Real Time with Bill Maher. I don't think it was After Hours, but Ben Shapiro was also on the show, and they were talking a bit about the whole Charlie Kirk thing. Ben definitely made some good salient points within it. I would say go take a look at the actual show if you have not. I didn't know she was going to review it. Again, I don't really look at reaction channels. I've never seen her channel before, but it came up on my feed. So shout out to you, sister. You're doing your thing because apparently you wound up on my feed. So I didn't know it was going to be reaction, but I do want to know her particular thoughts on it, not necessarily of the clip from the show on Real Time.
Meaning that
we're halfway through this video, so I'm just going to say where I stand and then we'll finish the video. I think I will continue to react to Charlie Kirk's debates, maybe once all of this starts to die down.
Okay.
I am a Black woman. I don't think anyone doesn't know that. I don't think anyone thinks I deny that. I don't think anyone can ignore that. I have lived my life in my skin and had my.
She look Black, folks, because I don't know. Yeah, some of y'all be surprised when I get. I don't. Maybe I slept too long. I'm just waiting to rub some of this off. She Black, folks, because I know y'all be a little surprised when I say I'm Black. You know, like she Black. I don't know. So you tell me. Maybe it's this camera that I'm using. Maybe because the camera that I'm using, it looks a little different. But maybe here a little different. But you know, I think she Black. But I'm just wondering because she has to put it out there. So I got to put it out there. Apparently, she got to put it out there. Maybe, you know what? Maybe she not, because maybe people trying to come for her card because some of y'all trying to come for my card.
Own experience for almost 37 years. Literally, my birthday is on the 28th of this month. I am fully aware of everything a Black person, a Black woman, a Black mother, a Black business owner. I'm fully aware of all of the things
her lighting's on point, though.
Say, disagree about.
I gotta fix my lighting.
I'm fully aware. I'm fully aware. And I'm saying this to you because I don't need anyone fighting for me as a Black woman and telling me that as a Black woman, how can I? Because before I'm a Black woman, before I'm a mother, before I'm a wife, before I'm anything else, I am a child of God. I am a Christian. I belong to Jesus. voidant of my skin color, my gender. And I said this in the last video, I am just flesh and blood with a beating heart and blood that flows through my veins. And for that reason alone, I have compassion, empathy, and sympathy for Charlie Kirk, for his wife, for his children, and for everyone that knew him and worked for him. Because as a human being, to see what happened is horrifying. And I'd be lying if I said to you guys, I haven't lost sleep on this whole thing. I've had conversations amongst my own friends and family who don't agree with me, and that's fine. That's the whole point. That's the
I've had some conversation with people, not necessarily too much of family, but I have had with some of my friends, and there are some. Again, I live in a liberal state, so there are people who just don't agree with me, and it's fine. I made my point, and we've had many different points of opinion. So in the end of the day, just like that's just Resla being Resla. But even when I make a point, they go. And again, I'm also a person that like I'll leave you where you are because it's not my job to convince you or to try to change your mind. You will develop. You will come up with the answer on your own, or you will stay where you're at. That's it. It's not my job, or it's not my place to say that, like some people do. Some people have done this, but it is not my place to say that this thing is the contingency or the threshold as to where we can and can't be friends anymore. This whole, like, for me, I don't give a fuck if you're liberal, if you're conservative, so long as you're not a psychopath. That doesn't mean that we can't be friends. That doesn't mean that we can't be family. I know people like to make hard lines on it, but I think these are people who are, and I'll just say it, and this is just my opinion, you're a fucking moron. But that's just my point on it. So but I do agree with so far what she said.
whole point. But I can tell you that my friends and family who don't necessarily agree with me have also admitted that they have not watched a full video of his, watched a full debate of his, watched anything in totality. They've only seen these divisive clips that have circulated the internet for years. Some of which didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was before this happened, might I add. And so their opinion is solely that of what they have seen on the internet in very short form consumption. Have I done tons and loads and hours of research and watching and listening? No, but I have done more than most people who I feel are criticizing me for simply having empathy. Here is the other thing. Every single one of you that is convinced that I and anyone else must pick a side, I hurt for you, that you feel that that is what is important, not only in this situation, but in this life. To pick a side. And I said this in my comments. I'm not.
This is what I was just saying, folks. So far, she and I, listen, I don't know your sister, but so far we are in alignment. We are in the same thought process. I am definitely one to say, like, y'all do you, yeah, and I'll just do me. That's not to say we're enemies or anything. People have different thought processes, but it's nothing I can really do about it. At the end of the day, I would never argue about when Jesus is coming. I'm not doing it. But when the motherfucker shows, all you got to do is hope that you did what you're going to do. Because there are going to be a lot of people that think that they've been a part of the pulpit, that they think that they are good to go. And they're going to find out the hard way that they don't measure up. And that's not going to have anything to do with me. That's it. So she can do whatever she's going to do. And I, so far, I'm agreeing with her.
I'm certainly not on the wrong side. I'm going to always be on the right side because I'm on the side of my Jesus. I'm team Jesus in this. So I'll never be on the wrong side. I agree with what Bill Maher just said and Ben Shapiro just said. This, and I've been saying this from the beginning, is not a color, red or blue, white, black, orange, purple, yellow, green. It's not a political stance. Conservative, liberal, right or left. This is a human issue. It's human error. And the lack of empathy on the internet from everyone involved is the issue. And shame on anyone. Shame on anyone who is using this situation, using their platforms to push anything other than wanting change and unity, because Charlie Kirk's murder is not change or unity. It's not good. It's evil. What happened to him was evil. I've seen it all. You're going to ask me to, I'm not reacting to anything else. I unknowingly opened up my Facebook and his wife and her speech was happening live. And I watched it. I absolutely watched it. I watched it. My daughter was sitting next to me. I saw her declare that now more than ever, this movement will not only go forward, it'll be bigger than it ever was. And I believe her. This woman, this is a grieving wife. And in her 2-day-old grief, she was letting us all know, you thought you did something by unaliving my husband. You thought wrong. I've seen the interview of the young man who was debating Charlie as this was happening and admitted he was not a fan of Charlie. He did not agree with Charlie. He was actually presenting evidence to Charlie about trans shooters trending when it came to these mass shootings, and that he had, as a math major at the school, the campus that it happened at, he had done the math and it wasn't a trend, and he was debating Charlie on that. And even he said, I may not have liked him, but I was thankful for him for platforming everyone. He didn't have to agree with people to offer them a platform. And I don't know why people don't understand that whether you felt he was right or wrong, what he was doing was platforming everyone. He was using his millions of views to platform people he agreed with and people he disagreed with. And just because on Instagram and on TikTok, you saw.
Wait. So I agree with her on this part, right? I agree with her because this is something I talked about for some time when it comes to people. I'm already off camera. This is something that I agree with. We have all this information about, what's been taking place and what was going on with Charlie Kirk and the shooter, and then this whole trans thing, trans boyfriend thing. And I've heard ever since then, whether you want to talk about the rumors that have come out about all the conspiracies, or if you want to, it's those who are still watching Candace Owens, that she talks about this whole conspiracy thing, and not for nothing, I'm gonna just say this. Candace will probably never see this, but Candace, you're gonna have to really rope me back in as a friend of Charlie Kirk. I get it that you're in mourning about everything, but you're also your obsession, because you need to make more salient points, because right now it seems like it's a little off. I'm going to say this personally. It seems like your obsession with Netanyahu has colored what's taking place with Charlie. Because I know you've been finding out other stuff, and you're a better journalist than I am. You're better at this, but I just haven't found anything within your words to make me think that there's a strong connection. That's just me. Feel free to give out more information until I can change my mind with enough adequate evidence. But right now, that's just not the case. So the young lady is here that she's speaking. I so far I'm in a good agreement about everything that she's been doing so far, because there's a lot of stuff that I've been talking about as well. And it's just, to be honest with you, it's just like really refreshing to hear somebody who's actually just giving a very nuanced stance. Now, she's doing this because she's also saying that she drops it low for Jesus. Not that I have a problem with that. I'm just saying that the way how I move is not strictly just based on a biblical foundation.
Clipping up pieces of that, and you decided, well, his side is wrong. You're going to negate the fact that he also uplifted and gave a voice to, and understanding to, and willingness to hear out the side that he did not agree with.
And I agree with this, LA. I actually agree with this so much. I do believe that Americans just want to be angry. But here's the next thing. Americans wanted to be angry for so long. For so fucking long about anything and everything. I think the Americans, the American outrage is all about something that they're not saying what it is. So they're like kids. They're gonna pick everything to be outraged about, except saying that the actual thing that they are outraged about. The main thing that needs to be said is not being said. So therefore, they lash down to everything else that comes out in between. And I know this is going to be a lot of things that are very hard for people to really get into, because I like to talk about human behavior and stuff that people are thinking, but a lot of people just want to hear controversy and blame and victimhood. People don't want to think for themselves. They want to be told what to think. That's the problem that we run into today. So I do believe in what you're saying, that Americans want to be angry and outraged, but they also want to be told that their anger is justified. They want to be told that it's okay to be angry. And I'm not going to give it to them. I'm not over Candace. I just think that whatever she's going through, it may be misguided. I don't know. I don't do the deep dive that she does, but it might be misguided. Possibly, but grief does that to people. Grief does this to a lot of people. Sometimes just going down the rabbit hole, but you're laser focused on what you want to be laser focused on. You can't see the forest beyond the trees. That happens as well. If you're guaranteed that this is the person that you're looking for, but you can't see everybody else, that could happen as well. That happens to journalists. That happens to mathematicians. That happens to everybody. So I think that is the case as well. Now, the fraud thing, here's my thing. I don't even know. I don't even know if that matters, because whether she's a fraud or whether people say that other people are like psychopaths or crazy, I'll look at frauds and everything else, what people call and label other people, and I'll just say, even the broke clock is still right twice a day, right? I won't know until someone else can put it all together for me, because I'm not going to do it. Until someone else can prove it, it's all conjecture, it's all opinion, it's all subjective. So that's just the way how I look at it. To me, I'm not someone who really cares and deeply invested in politics the same way how I'm not deeply invested in sports. It's just not important to me, because me as an individual here in America, but on Earth, is more concerned with keeping food on the table for my family and making sure that everybody around me is good. I don't care about those who make rules that don't apply to me. And that's just the truth of the matter. Oh, they're making rules that are affecting Black people. They might be affecting, but until they said there's a rule that just says we sweeping every Black person off the street, I'm not affected. Because you have to find a reason for me to break the law. And until they make a law that just says you're only breaking the law just because you're simply Black, I haven't found it. Now, you can jump all over the world and go all over the mulberry bush and over the hill and through the river and everything but you're going to have to be able to prove that through clear language. It needs to be clutch. It needs to be clear. It needs to be salient, and not conjecture, not reading between the tea leaves. It needs to be solid. It needs to be Chevy like a rock. It needs to be there. I don't want the covert racism. I need it to be overt. I need to be in my face. Everything else is just speculation. I know we want to say, but you can look at what Malcolm and Dr. Martin Luther of the Kings did, and Rosa Parks, and stop. They're all in a space that has nothing to do with me today. You, as a person who wants to drag them, those who are in their graves or those who are too old to even remember what the fuck is going on today, you need to prove to me today that these things are still taking place. That's going to be my little bit of Black notion to you. I'm not here to do a conspiracy. We're still talking, people to this day are still talking about aliens. I'm not doing conspiracy. I'm too worried about the shit that's really in front of my face. The real shit that's in front of my face. Let me say this what. This is something that got told to me from one of my mentors a long time ago. And I didn't really say it because it's not really something that applies to me, but it's something that's important. People that can sit around all day talking about sports or politics are people that have too much comfort in their life because they can afford to talk about sports and politics. When you are in survival mode, you don't have the luxury of sitting around talking about sports and politics because you're trying to make it you're trying to make it to the next day. You're trying to make it to next week. If you have the right to sit around and bitch and complain, you got some free time on your hands. And I can also agree with that as someone who's been homeless twice. I'm going to listen to a little bit more what she got to say before we take off.
Is that not what Jesus did? And I'm not comparing this man to Jesus. I am not comparing him to Jesus. I'm just saying to you that when we are talking about goodness, we talk about Jesus's goodness. Goodness is understanding and creating room for everyone to speak. That was the same goodness that Jesus was about. Someone wanted to be upset with me because I called him an activist. What is the definition of an activist? Let's ask Siri, because y'all know I love to ask Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. What's the definition of an activist?
I'm not really sure what oh, shit. The fact I'm gonna do this right now. All right, we're gonna do this. Jabari, I get it. You may not like Candace. I'm not saying I do. I really couldn't give a shit. But then you also talk about keeping food on the table is political. You being able to survive on a regular basis, whether it's the proper thing to eat or not, is not political. If you are prohibited by law from buying food, what's the difference between that and not being able to afford it because of anti-Black policies? Tell me what anti-Black policy has prohibited anyone from being able to buy food. And that'll answer your own fucking question. I have never been able to, me and everybody else that I know who's also Black has never been prohibited from buying food. This is what we talk about, that extremism that is used to promote other propaganda that is not actually there. Even when you look up the word, the definition of food insecurity, it does not say anything about the prohibiting or the starvation of other people. We need to make sure that we are not being delusional or misdirecting, because a lot of people like to be fucking Houdini, misdirecting other people. I get it. A lot of people don't like to listen, and a lot of people don't like to read. But I am one who does both. And it's very important. I know there's a lot of misguided people, but I'm not going to be one of them. I take in information, even if I don't need to have an opinion on it. But I think it's my responsibility to just listen. I don't need to make a decision. Sometimes it's just important to just listen. And some people will just say shit that has no bearing because they want to try to influence. And that's damaging.
Working. A person who campaigns to bring about political or social change Charlie Kirk was an activist. Just because you don't agree with his political or social change that he was activating for doesn't mean he was not an activist. Some of us have got to step outside of ourselves. Too many of us are self-involved and self-righteous. Just because he didn't do something you like didn't mean he wasn't an activist. Just because he was campaigning for something you disagreed with doesn't mean the title activist does not apply. Same as I said, Martin Luther King was an activist, and there were tons of people who didn't want what he wanted. Malcolm X was an activist. There were tons of people who didn't want what he wanted. You don't have.
I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna stop right there because she's already ahead. She's already ahead. She's talking about shit that I already said. She's mentioning people I already fucking mentioned. This is crazy. This is twice now this has happened. Like, you know what? I might have to look. I might have to try to see some other stuff that she might have done because I don't know really much about what she's going on. I'm gonna move into my final segment because I see we're running on. We're almost running into 3 hours right here. And my final one is pretty much me talking about the entire side of the stream that I am a wrestler. I have been gone for a little bit, but I am going to try to make a little bit of a return. And quite frankly, there are a lot of people that just don't get what I'm about, what am I doing, and of course, what am I looking forward to in the future. So for those who don't know, I do a lot of different talk. I speak a lot about human behavior, not psychology. I know a lot of you guys like to get that misconstrued. But I do talk a lot about human behavior, the things that I notice. I pay attention to why we do particular things, what's beneficial. And my thing is that I am never trying to convince, but we're trying to actually bring critical thought back to individuals because quite frankly, we do more times absorbing other people's perspectives and thoughts and not doing enough of our own. We do a good fucking job at spitting rhetoric, but not actually thinking about the things that we're absorbing. That's the most unfortunate thing of all. So when it comes to this aspect of, let me make sure, because I want to make sure I got my questions in. But just talking about who am I and what I do, because for those who have been watching me for a while, then you already know what I'm about. But there are plenty of people who see me all the time, new people who are discovering me. And I want to talk about that. So the first and foremost thing that I want to mention is the fact that there were a lot of people. Well, let me talk about why I've been gone for a while. Let me just put it that way. I have been gone because, quite frankly, those who've been watching the channel, I have done a whole lot of stuff. I started off with just doing some reactions, a little bit of my commentary about my own things. I've been doing my own videos that has nothing to do about reactions. I've even had a point where I started my show, which was called Opinionated with yours truly. And then from there, we had a whole big thing on being on a rise and bringing up people on the channel, where we've had a lot of different controversies and, of course, a lot of people who came in, and there was a whole big flood of shit. But the point that I'm bringing forth in this is that the fact that I have been losing my edge between working for the company I was working for versus now. I lost my edge in a lot of different ways. I stopped learning how to do this thing called content creation, right? And I want to say the change happened back in March. So back in March is when I really started feeling it, that slide, that burnout that was creeping in. And I still had plenty to talk about. You know, I still did some stuff. I still had real issues. I still had cultural breakdowns. I still talk about everyday things that go through people's lives. But inside, though, inside, how long am I going to keep this up was the general question that kept going through my mind. You see, here's the thing. When you start creating, there's this rush that hits you. Every new episode feels alive. Every reaction feels like a new discovery. You're not worried about the burnout. You're not worried about anything. You're just trying to fuel the momentum. But eventually, the grind catches up to you. And for me in particular, the danger wasn't running out of ideals. It was running out of enjoyment. When I started sensing burnout, I don't ignore it. Or rather, I don't ignore it. But because it doesn't just hit me on a content front, like I just get writer's block or something, it hits me in my real life. I start losing energy. I start losing my patience. I'm sure plenty of you guys got to see that. And I also start to lose my edge when it comes to making this show what it is, not just enjoyable for you guys, but also for me. So I ran an assessment. I asked myself really, really difficult questions. And I'm asking, am I doing this because I love it or just because I feel trapped by it? Now, there are plenty of people who make this decision and they decided they want to stay doing a thing because maybe they're getting money or they're getting attention, they're building notoriety. But I will never make enough money doing this compared to me having a regular job. That's just not been the path that I've been on. And that subtle truth slapped me in the face. I wasn't enjoying the conversations anymore, which is why I also did a bit of a deep dive as to what I was doing in the past between the seasons, all bit coming up to what I was doing now. And the thing that hit me was like, when you are creating, when what you're creating starts to feel like a job that you did not apply for, that's when you know that your edge is gone. Just gonna put it that way. I went from being very thoughtful in my catalog to trying to wonder where the hell I fell off. That's why I said I went through my season 1. I started seeing where I wasn't polished. I wanted to see where my energy had went away. I had to be curious even about myself and about the very people that I was dealing with, the very people that I called my community, my online family. You said you get that? Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I found more of a flow in the things that I did, my sharp delivery, and how I was learning how to bring structure into chaos. Because most people who get to know me knows that I come from sectors that just strictly deal in chaos. And I wanted to be something that wasn't just adding to it. And it wasn't perfect, never was, but it showed progress. And then came panels. At first, it felt like momentum. Showing up on other people's platforms, joining other people's conversations, mixing it up, building shit with people. But then the reality is those circular arguments, they start to drain the life out of you over time. They did for me. I wasn't creating my own content anymore. I was getting pulled into other people's content. And that's when I noticed that there was a big drop. The spark I had in my own solo content began to slip. Instead of building momentum, I was out here building tolerance. Tolerance for conversations that never went anywhere. I didn't lose to burnout. I lost to conversations that did not go anywhere. And I'm looking back now, even still, it was obvious. A lot of people don't get it because that's exactly what they want. Because, I get there's a saying that repetition is a matter of skill, but how long do you keep doing the same thing before people get tired of you and you get tired of yourself? And here's the truth, folks. Even if you hear me talk about stuff today and you used to really think about you're thinking about when I even talk about today. People who've been following me for a while, I don't like politics. I don't like religious debates. I don't like talking about relationship theatrics. I don't like panel beefs. I didn't want my channel to be that way. But even if I tried to walk away, bullshit like that followed. And here's the thing. It's not that I don't have my own opinions when it comes to that kind of stuff. I do. I have strong ones, by the way. But I know what happens when you make those foundational choices that can affect your content. It just strictly turns into chaos. It stops being about thought and it starts turning into about ideals. And I never wanted to build a place where people just lined up to throw fucking stones. And I know a lot of you guys are not going to like that. A lot of you guys are sitting there like, oh shit, no, all I do is get online so I can see people just behave like children, just saying, yo mama, basically. You're stupid. I don't understand how we've been going through this since elementary school on the playgrounds to as grown adults still getting your rocks off by just hearing other people call other people stupid. I don't get it. You're an idiot. It's so great. So, I don't see anything aspirational about that. I don't see anything that I can find beneficial from that. Because once the debate is all about winning instead of understanding, the conversation was already dead to begin with. And that's the trap that I've been seeing play for so long online. Controversy hunts down. Basically, that's what it is. Controversy hunt downs. You hunt down everybody in terms of just having controversy. Even when you do not invite it. The internet is like a leaky faucet. Even if you shut the fucking valve off, the drip of controversy still finds its way into your channel. Best way I can put it. So I had to make a decision for myself and for you guys for the platform. And my decision was to tap down on the things that I wasn't very okay with. I had to tap down from the panel junkies. And let's talk about the panels for a moment, because they didn't just slip in without notice. They didn't even slip off course. But if you don't pay attention to the people who you give a lot of airtime to, they can contaminate your channel, and they can also, by circumstance, by happenstance, contaminate you. Not by curiosity, but by dialogue. I'm talking about people who live to argue. People who treat rage bait like it's oxygen. People who show up just to turn conversations into a fight. That's all they want. I got tired because I couldn't even have a nuanced conversation with any of all sexes. It just strictly turning into a fucking sausage fest. Men who just spend their days and nights screaming at other men for sport. Women can't even have the conversation because you know what they say? This is not a woman's place, which means that all you like to do is stare at other penises. I said what I said. I know it sounds controversial, but when all you do is chase after other men and argue with other men, and you can't hear no nuanced conversation, you can't even take that maybe you might hear something salient from the opposite sex, even, not even a half the time, not even a quarter of the time, but none of the time, you're a panel junkie and it comes off a bit gay. how do we not turn around and say that the problem that we don't want to look at reality shows because it is a stronghold for watching what women want to be interested in which is controversy and chaos and throwing drinks and shit. But then when you go online and you look at these panel debates, if you really want to call them that, how are you no different from watching those reality shows as a man? How are you not watching all these different panel conversations no different from the women that sit around watching all these housewives shit, all these reality shit? You're no different. Women chasing attention just to inflate themselves in the chat rooms and even on these panels, you're no different when you do these things for these panels. And the worst part, you weren't even part of the topic. You just wanted to make sure you got in it because you can't stand not to hear your own voice. You're so desperate to be seen. You know, I think about it even now. Every time I open the panel, I would even stop to say that this is the point where I know I'm going to see somebody who claim that they hear the conversation, or they're going to come in never hearing the conversation. They're just going to talk about everything to derail it. And you make my point every time. It's to you, to the people who showed up, to you desperate panel junkies. It's all about who can call out the shouts, who could do their best at distracting, who could be the one to grab the spotlight, even if it meant derailing everything that other people were actually paying attention to. And eventually, it wears out everyone. It wears out the chat. It wears out the original people who were here for the conversation. It wears me out. And it drains energy from everybody except the person that sat around arguing, probably with a heart on the other side of their screen. And yeah, I'll admit it. For a while, it infected me. A lot of these guys were not coming for conversation. They were coming to audition for attention. It is what it is. And a lot of people will get stuck in that realm. And what they do is they have to make a decision. Either they're going to bend the knee to it and get absorbed by it, or they make a decision and they fall back knowing that there's a cost to it. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't get absorbed. I took a step back and I know there's a cost. But for you guys, I want to thank you, everybody who's been here. I know we've had multiple numbers of people who've been bouncing back and forth. I know we've running on close to the 3-hour mark. And I'm going to end this in a traditional fashion, just saying that if you've been holding it down, if you've been rocking with me so far, at least this far, do the basics that keep the show alive, that keep the stream alive. I will be trying to do more content, not just streams. I know you think that you just want to see somebody streaming. Yeah, but I have a real life. The same way I'm going to tell you to go touch grass, the same way I'm going to say stop being on your phone or on your computer every day. You have a life. This is your one life. It's not a dress rehearsal. Get shit done. Stop just staring at a screen all day. Hit the like if that's something that you're interested in, because the likes are free. Drop a comment if you catch this on the replay, and share this with someone who actually wants more than just internet noise. If you really want to see more what I do for content, I am going to be starting to do a little bit more stuff, and I'm going to switch some things up. And at some point in time, I will be opening up opinions again. I just haven't made a decision. I know a lot of people don't want to come see my show unless they see a whole bunch of sausage fests arguing with each other. And I'm not interested in that. I know they want the gay Royal Rumble. I know you guys do, but I'm just over it. So next time we'll level up. We're going to do a whole bunch of different stuff. Hopefully we're doing that push to finally even get monetized, because I'm not monetized. I'll do some content, especially for sure, that we could push forward for these memberships. And of course, for the super chats. I didn't want to do anything in terms of membership for today because, quite frankly, I'm just now rebooting everything for you guys. And hopefully that's the thing that we're going to do so that we can help fuel it. So your attention, your time, and of course, your effort is the only thing I ask for. Because the same way how I did that in order for us to get this far is the same that we all have to do this together to get us to the future. And when the time comes for season 4 of Opinionated, I will do an announcement, but no time before then. So don't just watch in silence to be sitting there hoping that you can get in to just do some panel circle jerking. But I ask you to be a part of the platform altogether, because indifference begets indifference. And this platform only grows if the people who actually value it show up. With that being said, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and of course, I will see you on the next one. No redirect. Find your own place to go. Later, y'all.